Ugh, chats. Go ahead, let it out of your system. Who's gonna do it? There it is.
Making the mother of all omelets here, Jack. Can't spread over every egg.
Doesn't even wait. What do you mean I didn't post the blue sky? What do you mean I didn't post the blue sky? Yes, I did. Oh my god, did I close the page without actually sending it? Huh? Oh, son of a bitch. All right, hold on. Hold on. I'm working on it. I'm working on it. Shrieking skull will shock your soul, seal your doom tonight. I literally tried to make a post, but so I don't know why it didn't send. I made a blue, or did I post it twice? Please tell me I didn't post it twice. Oh my god, I did. I'm an idiot. I posted it twice on Twitter for some reason. Why did I do that? As you can tell, I am, what's the word? Kerfuzzled. Yeah, we're gonna go with kerfuzzled. Marin, go repost. Yeah, now that people are probably very confused. Why the fuck did I do that? It happens sometimes. Sometimes I try to open, because like on my screen, it's still the Twitter icon. When I go to open Twitter, it still has the Twitter icon there, and then blue sky's next to it. But half the time my brain's like, oh yeah, blue sky's a blue butterfly and X is now like a black X. So my brain, anytime like I'm gonna open blue sky, I instead right click Twitter and just fucking open Twitter again. It do be Monday. God, it do be Monday. I wasn't feeling super tired until like I sat down here. Hi Nitro Al, welcome in. How are you doing? But Jesus, my dude. Oh my goodness, it has been one hell of a weekend. Oh my goodness. Phone, I get notifications and always seems to send me 2 of the name notifications. Probably because one is the link to the stream and one is the main post. I'm gonna guess that's the reason. How are you and chat? I am really tired. Wait, is today Godzilla Day? November 3rd is Godzilla Day? Why is it Godzilla Day? Huh. That is really weird. I do not know. I could not tell you. Because Godzilla? Okay, since the very first Godzilla movie. Gotcha. I always have to make sure too, because sometimes when people are like, yeah, today is franchise day, specific franchise day. Okay, why is that? Is it because like this day was mentioned in specific franchise, or is it because this is the anniversary of like something in the franchise? Like May the 4th. May the 4th is Star Wars Day. Not because I'm pretty sure there's any special day for Star Wars, but entirely because it sounds like May the Force. Do we poke the favorite kaiju we know? I don't know if she's awake right now. I do not know. I have no clue. Super Mario on March 10th. Oh. Half the normal payment per NPR. Did you also cover the part where they cut off at least 700,000 people from Snap? Because apparently today they have dropped as much as 700,000 people due to, quote, budget cuts. The day Marty traveled back to the future and everyone was losing their minds. Oh, yeah. Yep. That's another one of the things I was thinking of. My brain was thinking, I was like, what was the Back to the Future one I remember? It was that. It was the day that he traveled back to. Or forward to. Speak of the devil. Ooh. Wholesomeness, what the hecky? Listen, we did a charity stream last week. And we are not actually legally, but comedically legally required to play Hello Kitty Island Adventure. I promised if we hit the $500 goal, I would play Hello Kitty Island Adventure, even if like 90% of it was Axio. Is my favorite kaiju. I want to get a full-on kaiju form. So many games to play? Yeah. Yeah, and I'm probably forgetting some. Which ones am I forgetting? Like, there's a bunch of games I want to play more of, like FBC Firebreak. I want to play way more Lockdown Protocol. I want to play Mecha Break with friends. I want to play more Outlast Trials, especially now that they added a thing where you get to be the one to stab people. At some point, we'll probably go back to Water Park Sim. Methinks we'll go back to Water Park Sim at some point. Send $500 now? What do you mean send $500 now? Where's Queen? He needs to be here for the go-round? He may be busy. Kaiju size Marin, though? True. That is just as fun. By the name of League of Legends, I played League of Legends. I played League of Legends from 2011 all the way to at least 2022. How you doing today? Did you have a great weekend? I had a garage sale on Saturday, and I did it with my family, so we had like a bunch of stuff just kind of all mixed in. Most of my stuff sold within like the first hour and a half. Apparently people just really liked my stuff. Granted, we were also doing the thing where it's basically like, just take it practically, which like $1, $5. And then like my old bed frame and mattress. Honestly, I just kind of wanted that thing gone. So I was like, 50. And the lady's like, what's the lowest you'll go for? I was like, I'll do 30. So basically just got paid $30 for somebody to haul away a bed and a bed frame I'm never going to use. Oh, bed frames, kitchen stuff that I can't really ship when I move. So, you know, made a little bit of extra money. Hi, Angel Cake. How are you doing? Forced to be wholesome? Yes, Wizlock, we're going to be forced to be wholesome. Abso-fucking-lutely forced to be wholesome. Hardtack. Hardtack. Oh my goodness. For playing League, I've been there too. I wish I could check and show y'all how many skins I have on League of Legends. But I don't have the game downloaded, nor will I download it just to show you that. But just understand, it's more than 600 skins. Don't look at me. Don't look at my shame. Don't look at my shame. Who did you main? Zyra support, Shyvana jungle before she just became AP. I used to like on-hit Shyvana. On-hit jungle Shyvana. I like jungle Vi. There was a time when I played a lot of, I almost said jigs. No, it's Ziggs. Ziggsman. As if we don't like sheep go rounds. I love sheep go rounds. Sheep go round is wholesome. I feel bad for your wallets. It was one of those things where like, I also liked the like grab boxes because sometimes I would like earn points and stuff and just be like, huh, okay, I got enough. Let's go grab some of those like orbs or some of those things that like I'm more specific. Stares at me in shame. No, Ordain, no. Perceive the lol nerd. Did someone just say sheep go rounds? Yeah, we're gonna be doing sheep go round today. 900 pets or mounts in WoW. I actually looked at my mounts yesterday and WoW, I have like 230 something. But that's kind of because I for the longest time didn't play between the first patch of Shadowlands and then all the way until the current patch. I have made the mistake. Diana is 7'2". Damn. Oh, the Absolute Universe Diana. Oh yeah, she's huge. She's huge. She's taller than Batman. I love her. But no, I also used to play Diana in League of Legends too. I played Jungle Diana. Jungle Diana was really fun. Buffalo chicken habanero wrap, an Italian sub, and some cheddar and sour cream chippies for lunch. Did I do good, boss? I don't know. It sounds like a lot of carbs there, champ. An Italian sub and a chicken wrap. Also, buffalo? Cedric, I have to ask. You know what buffalo sauce is made out of, right? You know what it is, right? Hi, Desecration Demon. How are you doing? What are we doing today? We're going to be forced to play Hello Kitty Island Adventure. Yes. Yes. I am being forced because of the charity events to play a wholesome game. Which we can still be very goofy with. Butter and buffaloes? It's butter and hot sauce. Butter and hot sauce. It's awful. It's artery clogging, and I genuinely think it tastes terrible. Like, to me, for whatever reason, it tastes sour. Happy Godzilla Day. Hi, Paleo. Rav, why do you put on the heart rate monitor? Why heart rate monitor? Because chaos? Okay. All right, but because you're making me put the heart rate monitor on now, it's likely not going to last till we get to game time. Merry belated ween. Hello Kitty heart rate monitor. Yeah. Yep. That's another thing is some people were asking me over the weekend, how is Halloween here? I went and bought a bag of assorted Reese's products, Reese's, if you will. And we had a grand total. Actually, hold on. I'm going to ask you, chat. How many trick-or-treaters do you think I had? How many do you think there were? Also, fuck you, Pipfin. 30, 62, all of them? At least a number? I'd hate to tell you. I'd hate to tell you. We had a grand total of 0. We did not have a single trick-or-treater at our house. We live in a suburban neighborhood too, and houses are decently far away. But we're also in a development that's right next to a very wealthy development. A development that's also all the houses are closer together and all the houses are bigger. So kids basically all in our neighborhood jump in their parents' cars and they just go over there. I hate trunk or treat, dude. I think trunk or treats are the stupidest things imaginable. But hey, Lil Treat, I've eaten basically every single Reese's that was in that bowl except for the Reese's Pieces thus far. And I'm whittling them down. What the fuck is going on with Halloween? Trunk or treat. Trunk or treat, my dude. Lives rich people adjacent. It's like, it's a development next to another development. It's a middle class development next to an upper class development. And I told you this before. So who knows the like Texas deep freeze that happened? When was it? 2021? Right? February 2021, I'm pretty sure. So when that happened, I was out of power for 3 days. We had no power. We're lucky we had a fireplace. Because basically all of us just huddled in the living room as close to the fireplace as we could get to stay warm. The development I'm talking about, the wealthier developments, less than a mile from where we are, mind you. Basically, I'll walk through a tree hedge to get to that development, across the street and through a tree hedge. And they had power back in less than 24 hours. It's like 22, 23 hours is how long it took for them to get power back. And then it took us another 2 fucking days. God knows why. But I want to talk to the power company guys and I'm going to beat their fucking ass. Especially because they knew the storm was coming. I'm so pissed about this, by the way. The Texas power grid, is it CDOT? Something like that. Knew that the storm was coming and knew how bad it was going to be and decided they weren't going to power on any additional stations to keep the grid stable. until after the grid had failed. Mind you, Texas only uses about a third, 33% or so, of all of its power stations at a given time. And technically, that's kind of common. You don't need every single power station that generates power to be connected to the grid at the exact same time. But they didn't even prepare them. So it took days for them to be like, all right, guys, we're going to have to power up these old coal stations. Wait, what do you mean you didn't staff the coal station? Well, you need the power. Okay, how long is it going to take to get staff here? What do you mean 24 hours? Fuckers. Fuckers every time. All right, Justin, you know the rule. You call me Bobby, you got to go buy something off the throne. Them's the rules. Them's the rules. I don't make them. Hold on a second. I need to send something to a group chat. Okay. Or Kofi. Oh my, wait, hold on, is this total sub accurate? No, it is not. It is a whole 30 above where it actually is. So hold on a second. Because I just activated it today after it was deactivated all of last week. There we go. There we go. Mandatory view message. Oh, mandatory view message has been observed, dear viewer. Thank you very much. How are you doing, Ordang? Care to share with the class? Where's the rest of you, chat? Do you not want a hello? Is Monday not going well enough for you? Do you need me to hold your hand? Lurk check. Perfect timing, baby. Building Legos. My goodness. Is the mower wound? Mower go wound? Mower go wound? Joel, but the Windows XP is crashing. Neat is a strong word. Well, if you say so. Monday is Monday. Relatable. Everybody shake your ordain. Let Twitch know what you count. That you count. Got you. Got you. I got a little... that's the thing, though. I'm going to be honest. I got a little depressed because I was scrolling Twitter, waiting for the pre-roll to end. Waiting for, like, the ad break during pre-roll to end, basically. Then, of course, I realized Mix It Up wasn't open, so I had to go open that. But I saw a bunch of people. People are posting their things that's like, I'm going on break because I've put so much work in this year, or I've accomplished so many goals this year. And I was sitting there reading those, and I was like, I don't know what I've accomplished. 9K followers? Although we are actually about to hit 9.4. We're 9 away from hitting 9.4. I ain't no statistic. Oh my God. It is big, Hectic. It is big. But when you have a following number that's large, but that following number doesn't seem to correlate towards literally anything, it does kind of suck. You don't want to have 9,000 people in one home. How do you fit 9,000 people in one home? It's one of those things, though. It's like, I've talked about this, and I hate talking about numbers and everything every time. I want to know how I can get, like, I see you, all 1,000 of you watching this fucking VOD. I see your asses. On the low end, either. Yeah, it's great. Hitting 10K followers is a huge accomplishment. That's more than some people will ever hit in their entire Twitch career. But the thing is it doesn't correlate to anything. There's no additional income at the end of the month. There's no CCV going up. There's no I think, of course, most of it is my own fault. I am very poor at engagement in terms of outside of live stream times. I need to post more shorts. I need to get over my like recording fear and all of that jazz. But it's scary. Recording is scary, and then having to listen to my voice back just sucks. I know a lot of y'all like my voice, but when I hear my voice, I'm like, this is awful. Who wants to listen to this shit? Gets really low at high followers. The thing is, though, I have so many friends that have like half of the followers I do that have partner. Oh, Twitch chat's loading for some reason. Connecting to chat. Connecting to chat. Okay, there we go. We connected back.
God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure?
True, Rivet. It more than likely is, and I am taking that into account.
Calm down.
Because like the first 5,000 followers we got on this channel was when I streamed. Oh, I'm so glad you've learned your place, chat. Okay. Anyway. Especially when it echoes in a call. Yeah. But where was I? The like the first 5,000 followers we got on this channel was basically when I was streaming, 1, Eastern Standard Time, and 2, at like 7 p.m. at night. I would stream late as hell, and most of my follow base were Americans getting off of work. And then now I'm essentially forced, due to my living conditions, to stream midday. Which, honestly, I would prefer to be able to, like, alternate like I did before where... I'm trying to remember the layout that we had. I'm new here. Hi, Dave. How are you doing? I'm trying to remember what days it was. I think it was Monday, Wednesday, Friday was noon. And Tuesday, Thursday was 4 p.m., something like that. We basically alternated between 12 p.m. and 4 p.m. And then my family started complaining. Now playing Guitar Hero 2. Oh no. I love Guitar Hero, dude. I never had my own Guitar Hero, so I would only ever play it at like friends' places or at arcades now. But, you know, as you do. I want to attribute it to recording programs because I hear mine sucks. I know I have to sound better than that. The thing is like, it's not often the recording program. It's you sound different to yourself than you sound to other people. It's just one of those things. Just one of those things. Oh, good Lord, the reposting. Oh, cute. I want to start doing Clone Hero streams. Ooh. That's also, I went from doing like the Tuesdays and Thursdays of just chatting days because I got a little tired of doing the like video days. Those wasn't things that I felt comfortable like uploading to the VOD channel, or even in the future, something like maybe we'll do more in the future when it's like relevant to a certain topic. Like step inside, step inside. Damien Dirk, thank you for the follow. Welcome in. How are you doing? Isn't going through your own skull into your inner ear, so hear it like that feels wrong? True. Very true. It's like when I'm speaking now, my voice doesn't sound so bad. But when I listen to it back, it's so much worse. It's so much worse. And that's almost entirely why I don't do my own shorts and stuff most of the time, is because as soon as I listen back to myself, I'm like, I don't want to post this anywhere. Watching the food streams, they're really fun, and I think they're like kind of goofy at times, so we may start bringing them back. It's just right now I'm trying to catch up on some of the games that I've had on the back burner for a while. Thing is though, is I think we're gonna knock out Hello Kitty in this one time, unless y'all hit that 250 again by some miracle of God. Where's some of the other ones? We're gonna be playing Deck of Haunts Wednesday. We're going to be doing VTM tomorrow and Thursday, which I'm pretty sure I've decided. Hi, King Krill. How are you doing? I've decided I think our next playthrough is going to be Tremere instead, because I want to do a Tremere playthrough with their passive, but the goal is going to be to make ourselves prince. We're going to take over Seattle. That's going to be the goal. Everybody else can absolutely eat it. The idea of hearing someone else that sounds like you? No, it's not like that, Wizlong. Yeah, it doesn't sound like you. It sounds off. It sounds weird. It sounds wrong. Oh, what the fuck? Oh, he's naked. Oh, no. Okay. Sorry, I was scrolling to see if there's anything new going on. But I saw a Papa Mutt clip. Saw a Papa Mutt clip. There we go. Also, out of curiosity, has anybody heard about the Skeb thing that apparently went on over the weekend? It doesn't feel nearly as wrong when I record myself doing a funny voice. The thing is, I throw voices and goofy accents and stuff around just on a whim, because that's the easiest way for me to just like get over certain things. Do some people just not hear a difference with their own voice, huh? I think so. Yeah, Bao didn't read the TOS of Skeb and was complaining, is basically the gist of it. So for anybody who doesn't know what Skeb is a Japanese platform where Japanese creators can essentially do like a lottery system where people can come in, give like the references of their characters, maybe a slight description of what they want, and they pay a flat amount. It's like auctions almost. It functions more like auctions. The artists will have like recommended amounts for certain things that you want from them. And you can put some details in the description. And it has its own, possibly one of the best automatic English to Japanese translation apps on the website. And you just kind of gamba on it. It's like, that's basically what it is. It is gamba art. You pitch your character, you pitch what they usually make or what you kind of want from them. To give you an idea, my scene transitions here, that is a Skeb. This is a Skeb. The animated part was not a Skeb, but this background is a Skeb. This transition is a Skeb. And you can use them. You can totally use them, no problem. I was lucky enough that the artist told me that comes with commercial rights, which is also why we have a desk mat for it. The transition scene, don't think I have commercial rights to that, because it is intrinsic on Skeb that the creator is the one that owns all of the rights, typically, unless stated elsewhere. You're a Skeb, I have a Skeb. I need to use Skeb. Skeb is really good because often it is cheap. It is quite cheap for what you get. But hold on a second. I need to send something to someone. Okay. Okay. Cheap and great quality? It depends. Sometimes it's really hit or miss. And they're not safe for work artists over there. There's more professional artists over there. But shockingly, you can find things over there that are crazy good for a ridiculously low price. I've seen things that like would typically probably go for $200+ if you were using like a Twitter artist, and they were $20 on Skeb. Yes, technically under their TOS, and you do agree to this TOS when you make an account, they do not have to follow anything you say. They do not. You know, Skeb, the study of Skebology. You Skeb, I Skeb, he, she, we, they Skeb. Not Skebity. God damn it. God damn it. Okay. It's cheap, but you can't dictate what they make? Correct. I have not had a bad one here. Let me actually see. I actually do have an add-on. I know I do. That essentially... Oh, not here, actually. Apparently not. I'm just gonna click random. I had an add-on for the longest time that automatically added basically every person's Skeb link to their Twitter profile. Because technically, you connect your Twitter to Skeb. But I guess it's not here. Crazy Bald Man, thank you for the follow. Welcome in. How are you doing? Explain to me like I'm 5. It's an auction. You pitch your character idea. You throw them the amount of yen that they're asking for, and then you hope they make something. That's it. That's it. But yeah, I have 3 things that are Skeb. If you've seen my 1.0 to 2.0 comic, that was a Skeb. My transition is a Skeb. The stinger, basically. And then the old, can you send them directions? You can try and give them as much as you want, but there's no guarantee that they will follow it. More, they will make your character. They will do something with your character. That is a given. Is it exactly what you asked them for? That depends. That depends. But no, it is basically, again, you are gambaing. You are finding an artist that you like the things that they make. And then you pay them up front. They give you a window that it's going to take. If they don't, so really can't do anything, huh? Shut up. That comic is so good. Yes, it was a Skeb. And it was literally the last comic the artist ever made. They stopped doing comics as a commission after that. Palm also has one of them. If you've ever seen Pomato's comic of her, like, become an astronaut comic, that was done by the same artist, Toto. It is certainly an interesting thing. Okay. But yeah, I only have 3 Skebs, and I know there's other people out there that get like basically a Skeb a week. I had a guy that I was trying to commission on Skeb, but every single time that he would like push it 3 months ahead, and then those 3 months would pass, and then he would just send me another thing. Is like, please renew and repay the fee. Because like once it expires, it sends the money back. Technically the person doesn't get the money until they finish the Skeb. But he did it twice. He did it fucking twice and was like, will you please renew it? I don't have enough time right now. And it took him like 6 months at that whole time. And I was like, fuck that. I want my money back. Because it was like $150 commission. Bacitration for your Skebs? What is that? Just make them all wholesome? Listen, that would be funny. Chad and Baird will discuss the Bow tweet discourse. It's not even discourse. People are making it discourse, but I genuinely don't think it is. Val just didn't read the TOS and didn't understand what Skeb was. Apparently she's already deleted the tweets too. So, I mean, I'm also not surprised that Bao misunderstood it. Considering Bao became, well, Bao straight out of high school. Like, and she's been making like, she makes mistakes frequently, especially when it comes to not reading TOSs and stuff like that. Because does anybody remember when she released the lingerie Bao model and got banned after the debut for like, I think it was like 72 hours or something? Like, she makes mistakes all the time because she doesn't read TOSs and conditions and stuff. Anybody who doesn't know why, like, this whole thing is a thing, Bao made a tweet over the weekend, I don't remember what day it was, that basically just boiled down to, hey, artists, would you stop posting art? It was like, will you stop posting art before the commissioner gets a chance to post it? Because we're trying to, like, save it for a project. And then immediately under it in the comments, she was like, I hate Skeb. And it was like, oh, okay, so you just don't understand how Skeb works. I've literally had artists on Skeb post my art on their personal Twitter and tag me before it's uploaded to Skeb. So, I mean, what's the point? What's the point? It's pretty common though, correct. The thing is though, is Skeb's like their general user TOS is very simplified. So it's not like you're getting like the Apple terms and conditions that's like 300 pages. No, it's basically just the rules. It's like you kind of need to understand that what you're doing here is paying something that's just going to make you feel good. You're not getting commercial rights. The creator owns all of the rights to the art still, unless specifically stated. You broke a rule you didn't read? Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's not that long. To understand what Skeb is and what rights and conditions you have while using Skeb is very easy to understand. But also, don't use Skeb for long-term projects. I used Skeb because I was all right with the things I was going to get because I knew they were going to be good. Honestly, I wasn't going to use that background that I use now as the starting soon screen. That originally wasn't the plan. I was going to get a completely different starting soon screen. It's not like reading the law, saying something is illegal and being bad, you got jailed. Oh, you're talking about ignorance of the law does not protect you from the law? Yeah, tell that to sovereign citizens. Who even reads TOS, contracts, EU, TLDR, just read all the things and let me use this software? Wait, what do you mean you now own my house? Thanks, banking apps. But no, it's also one of those things. It's like, if you're doing something that is effectively your livelihood, you should read the TOS with it. It's why I don't understand why there's so many of like the biggest streamers on Twitch that don't know what the TOS says. That like they debut a new model, they get a 24-hour ban, and then they go cry about it. As if the TOS hasn't been the same thing at this point for like 10 months. Pretty sure it's been like 10 months since the last TOS update. Hi, Bounce. How are you doing? Also, thank you for the self-care. I actually do need a drink of water. TLDR? I guess, man. The man not knowing TOS and getting bonked as free clowns? Ugh. I hate it. I hate it so much. What is Vertical Studios? These are words. I have no idea what these words mean. Thank you, Zach Busey. Busey. Who up frolicking in fields and eating apples right now? Listen, that would sounds like a good time. Unfortunately, I could not. Not right now. It is showtime. It is showtime. No, I don't think they're related to Gary Busey. He's just apparently really in the fucking know with a lot of things. So he makes a lot of the like breaking news when it comes to like Twitch and stuff. Oh my god, Twitch chat reloaded again. What the fuck? Expecting Barrett the VTuber to read this? I'm barely a VTuber. In the case of like following VTuber stereotypes and stuff, I think I do pretty well. Generally. Listen, if I could, I would much rather just get a full 3D model and never look back. Full 3D model, full body tracking, and that's what the show was going to be from that day forward. I don't want a job, I want to frolic in a field. Correct. Correct. Ooh. Someone with a model, basically. Although I wish I could say that I could stream with my face, but I'd probably throw up live on stream if I did that. Because I hate looking at my face. That's like when Izzy does her cam streams or when Abuki does theirs. I'm a little jealous. I'm a little jealous. The VTuber face? Puke stream when? Shut up. My favorite political streamer? What do you mean? Listen, I jump whatever topics I want to talk about for the day. It's fine. Or as close to the line as they can to breaking TOS and get mad when they get burned? Correct. I mean, who remembers the number whenever they like adjusted the TOS and people just immediately assumed what it meant and started streaming practically naked? Who remembers that? Don't understand how you got that interpretation from those TOS rules, because I read that shit as soon as they were announced. I was like, okay, either you're stupid or ignorant. And both are bad. Yep. It was certainly a choice. Certainly a decision to be made. Full body motions while talking. I do tend to like flail my hands or like sit in funny ways. So it would at least be nice to have something like that. Push-ups, get to it, soldier. I also owe somebody squats. All right. So let's do these workouts real quick. We're at, what are we at? We're at 50-minute mark. Okay. I do have the low poly model, but I don't have the full body tracking. It is technically compatible with full body tracking, but it's a little expensive. Full body tracking is a little expensive. I'm still trying to figure out if I want to switch to before that or if I want the full body tracking first, because they're basically the same price. Is streaming normally so tough you gotta make it anti-TOS sexual, huh? All right, let's do the push-ups first, and then I'll do the squats afterwards. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Whew. Okay. I need/read is the want a low poly model so bad. I mean, Vox's is pretty affordable. It's Voxen. These are pretty affordable in terms of 3D models, especially low poly ones. All right. Being jealous of Izzy is natural. I just saw that comment. All right. Hi, random Mexican. All right, I need to do 20 squats really quick. Let's do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. All right. Also, hold on. Back talking on, because we talked about this a long time ago, like 40 minutes ago, on the having almost 10K followers at this point, and it effectively translating to very little. It means a lot that there's so many fucking people that think I'm neat enough to follow on Twitch. Sorry, I'm out of breath because doing the 2 workouts. But... well, his name's Random Mexican, and I love you too, random citizen. But when you go from, God, basically at the point of having like 4 or 5K, and it increases well past 9K, and literally everything else is the same, it means very little. having that count anymore? You mean like the follower counts? Or like how YouTube has subscriber counts? Good question. I mean, it's basically like hitting the favorite button. That's like, I want to see this person again. Click. Or I want to be notified when this person does things. Click. But I don't know. It feels a little bad sometimes because it's also like literally just having 1% or at least like, no, yeah, I was doing the math right. Having 1% of the followers of this channel would give us partner in like 2 weeks. I just want an ice cream cone. Listen, ice cream is pretty good. Isn't like a double increase should do more? It hasn't. That's exactly the point I'm making. Is it just hasn't. And that happens. And I can't like friggin' scam. It's the thing too is this, it's not like we jumped either. It's not like it was spontaneously we went from 5K to an additional 4K on top of that in the course of like a month or 2 months. We developed all the way to here over the course of the almost 4 years I've streamed. Frankly, not that bad. Empty ice cream cones are fucking great. Why empty ice cream cones? Well, thank you, Pip, then. I wish I could hold on to the rest of the community so much. And it was like the night we did that, again, that Digimonster. What the fuck? What did I just touch? Hold on a second. I think I just found... Oh, I know what that is. Last night when I was trying to put on chapstick, I have like Carmex here, like a tube of Carmex. Tap, tap, tap. I tried to put it on last night, and when I went to bring my finger to my lips, the Carmex was gone. Turns out it landed on my keyboard. So hold on, I'm gonna go kind of wipe this off really quick. Okay. Ice cream will just have the ice cream, but the cones, well, a cone is a cone means you can't enjoy the cone? Huh? Huh? What did you, wait, I'm confused. All right, let's do this one. Answer the question? I don't know the question. Who goes as far as to decide 1, 2, 4? Why do they call it an oven? Why do they call it an oven when you oven out the food? Oh my god, no. No. A cone alone is good and ice cream alone is good. A cone and ice cream together, subpar? What? I disagree, especially if the cone on the inside is chocolate coated. Why did you win the did you go to? Yeah? Just ice cream with hands? With hands? I honestly though, if I go to an ice cream place, I would much rather have ice cream in a cup than in a cone. And that's almost what I always do. Granted, I could not tell you the last time I've been to an ice cream place that wasn't like a soft serve ice cream place. I just like Andy's too much. Andy's has the good frozen yogurt ice cream. Plus they have a like peanut butter and brownie and fudge one on their menu that's crazy. What the? I'm trying to scroll down on my other monitor and it's literally just scrolling up. Why? Why? Oh my. Huh. Y'all got Andy's? This just moved here? Andy's is so good, dude. It's probably my favorite ice cream place. It's almost certainly my favorite ice cream place. I like the pageantry of it. Listen. Confection shop, they bought back this coconut chocolate marshmallow filled cone, and it was the best cone I'd ever had. Oh. The bit of the cone with chocolate is amazing, but with ice cream cone, you don't taste the cone. It can be messy. The ice cream just gets stuck in the bottom of the cone, then you don't really want to destroy. Just to get so you gotta tongue that thing. I mean, what? I don't know, Sunstar. What do you mean? Okay, chat, can we agree? Stick with me on this. Can we agree? Waffle cones absolutely suck ass. I'm convinced those motherfuckers are made out of paper mache and are not, in fact, edible. Right? Right? I can't be the only one. Nah, some are good? You're full of shit. No, wait, sorry. Not the waffle cones, the, like, wafer cones. Are they called wafer cones? Yeah. Well, actually, according to here, they're called cake cones. I do not remember these ever being called cake cones. Yeah. They're basically wafers. The wafer cones. They feel, taste, and look like plastic. Sorry, waffle cones are way better. Waffle cones are way better. Grebos. Yeah, no, waffle cones are great. Communion wafers? I agree. I agree. But yeah, I need to figure out something to get y'all. I guess just the thing is, I don't want to keep doing the thing where it's like, okay, current followers seemingly don't want to come hang out or watch the show. So I guess I need to find new folks to come in and to be able to pad out so that we can get partner. But I don't want to do that. I don't want to keep just being like, guess we need to find new viewers. So time to just do the cast the net again and upload a bunch of shorts and stuff. When there's basically 10,000s of y'all. Hi, Hex. 10,000 of y'all out there. And it's just like, 1% of you, please. Where are you? Where are you? Self-defeating? Kind of in its own way. Yes, it is. But as you do, it took you 4 years. We haven't even got partner vapor. And the thing is we're not any closer than we were 2 years ago. We are as close to getting partner now as we were 2 years ago when I moved. When I was forced to move from New England because I couldn't afford to stay there by myself. Just one of those things. Our CCV has been effectively the same for like 2.5 years. Flyleaf? What is flyleaf? I'm here no matter what happens. Hell yeah. God damn it, Melissa. We just did squats a minute ago. That's fine. You know what? We're about to have, what's the word? Screen time? That's the word. Screen time. Because the ad break's going to start any second. Another band? I've never heard of Flyleaf. Huh. All right. But while the game goes, I am going to do the squats. Take away my glasses. Okay, Melissa redeemed eyes 2 minutes ago. I was like, have I had eyes on this whole stream? Rabbits are explosively cute at sometimes. Correct. You're the next one. I feel it. I doubt it. Because the next one's going to be Vanny. All Vanny has to do is probably submit her fucking partner application and she has it in the bag. I don't know why she hasn't. Vanny's average CCV has been 100 plus for weeks. All right, let's do these squats. I got to do just 20 of them, so that's not bad. No, I don't know Flyleaf. No idea who that is. All right. That's best thing is there's always loyal folks, and I fucking love y'all. I love seeing y'all. Oh, that's what I was saying. I was talking about the Digimon stream. When we had the Digimon stream, how many weeks ago was that? 3 weeks ago now? And we basically had like a 12-hour stream that went from noon to almost midnight. There were so many of the old people that came back as the hours went on that it made me be like, well, I wish I could also stream my late hours again, or at least have longer streams so that those people could join. Because right now, our regular hours are early enough to grab all the European viewers, which is a bunch of y'all are European. And then we go to about 4 p.m., which is just enough for all of the Europeans that go to bed at a reasonable hour to dwindle off and go to sleep, but not long enough for all of the Americans to get off work and come watch. Because I have family here, Wizlock. Around 5 o'clock, if not slightly earlier, is when family members start getting home and they think what I do is cringe. If I stream while they're home and then I end stream and I walk outside, they will start making fun of me. All right, let me give y'all another round. And then let me do these squats. All right, 20 squats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. All right. It happens. It happens. Because I do weird things here. I do weird things to like keep y'all entertained, to be silly, to be goofy. But if I say something and they don't understand it, then they'll ask me later on. And I'm like, okay, where did they hear that? What was the context? How do I explain it to them? No, they're pretty terrible when it comes to understanding online entertainment as well as online interactions. They genuinely think anytime I tell them I'm talking to like a friend online, even if it's Fairbanks, who I've gone and hung out with in person, they think I'm being scammed. They think that all of the people I meet online are there to scam me. Which is so fucking weird considering how much one of them is always on Facebook. It sound like they were bullying you about shit? Kind of a little bit. They called me cringe a couple times, which is why I changed my schedule to always end before 5 p.m. Unless I know nobody's coming home at that time. Technology too advanced for Facebook users. The thing is they're attached to their phones at times, but they were never attached enough to develop friendships online. Like they've never found fun and enjoyments of like playing games or doing interactive stuff with people that they've met online. The closest they get is Facebook comments. And that tends to be the case for a lot of people their age. It's just the way it is at times. Hi, Abaddon. Also, I'm taking this off because it's already getting uncomfortable. That's the thing is too, is it's a perfectly legitimate way to find friends, to find social connection, because the best way to find friends is to do things that you like. If you like video games, play video games. You will meet people. If you like Magic the Gathering or tabletop games or any other TCG, go to a local game store. Just play. Eventually, people will talk to you and want to hang out. Like, that's the way you make adult relationships. You just do the things that you enjoy. Okay. Yeah, I mean, but there's so many people that grew up into a generation that, like, after high school and not being forced to be at a place every single day to see people, you realize exactly how fast friends drift apart, or the fact that you were only friends because you were all stuck in the same place at the same time. Once you become an adult and you have the freedom to be wherever you want, and you want friendship, you have to do the things you enjoy. Game stores got shut down by the FBI. What? That's hilarious. How did the FBI get involved in a game store? What were they smuggling? Entire personality around getting senselessly drunk at the nearest bar after work. Yep. Listen, alcohol can be a bonding agent. I don't mean getting drunk with alcohol. I mean enjoying beverages, mixology, all that stuff. Finding a nice lounge where you can sit down and talk with people about it. Mixology is a perfectly legitimate hobby. I have... Oh, they're all packed up. I packed up all of my mixology books already. They're in boxes behind me. Harbor's WMDs. It's not some stream friendly stuff, but also just rumors. So I don't know. Listen, if FBI showed up, was it CSAM? Just yes or no. Was it CSAM? If you don't know what CSAM is, Google it. It's an acronym. The letter C followed by the word Sam. They're all capitals. So many fellow gays working at the bar. I get to talk about D&D and Star Wars with them. Yeah, like, plus with the way that bar culture has evolved into the 21st century, there are so many theme-specific bars that you could find the people you're looking for. I think it is. I think if the FBI shows up at a game store, I think it's CSAM. It's kind of scary, but I think it is CSAM. If not, it's probably for creeping on kids at the store. What's your drink of choice? Ooh. I love mojitos. Reanimator, if the place has it. Not often, very rarely do people have reanimators on the menu. Someone say bars? Hi, Uphill. How are you doing? Old fashions are not bad. Gin fizzes are pretty good. Mint juleps. I love a mint julep. Julep. We need an expert consultant to help catch the D20 killer. What? To play in the band again? Hey, listen, you're gonna have to re-kickstart the garage door bands again, because that shit is dead as a doornail right now. It's time for somebody to pick it back up. Since the Preakness? D4 is to kill caltrops. 3-day bender this weekend, Lamau? Oh no, dude. Yeah, the thing is, I don't like getting drunk, but I love mixology. Many of the books I have on mixology are equivalent to college textbooks for a bartender. Like, I have Imbibe, I have Death and Taxes. I'm trying to think of some of the other ones. I have two. There's Imbibe and... Is it... Oh, hold on a second. I need to Google it. I know exactly what it looks like. Death and Co. That's the one, not Death and Taxes. Death and Co. is the modern one that I have. But I have one by, is it Jeffrey Thomas? Is that his name? Imbibe by David Woodrich is one of them. And... Oh, it doesn't look like this person has the other one that I have. I do have Smuggler's Cove, I'm pretty sure, which is a book on tropical cocktails. Yeah, that's not it. Hold on. Classic mixology books. Not The Ideal Bartender, not The Joy of Mixology. It's not the Savoy cocktail book. Damn it. Where is it? Because it's basically a book on Jerry Thomas, that's it. The Bartender's Guide, that's it. I have a reprint of the Bartender's Guide. How to mix drinks, receipts for mixing all kinds of punches, agandas, juleps, smalms, cobblers, cocktails, sangarees, bowls, toddies, slings, sours, and flips, and 200 other fancy drinks. It's one of the first and largest compilation of mixology from its heyday by the one and only Jerry Thomas. Scuba diving bartender, listen. If I could, y'all know that cafe idea that I had? If I could, I would probably have like a weird mix of like coffee in the morning, followed by like a day. Oh yeah, if y'all haven't heard this, I've always said if I had more money than I knew what to do with, I would open a cafe. I would, at this point though, I'd want to open like a seaside cafe, because then we could do morning coffee, midday scuba diving excursions, and then nighttime cocktails. And honestly, if I had way more money than I knew what to do with, I would probably make it like a tavern kind of thing. So there'd be like hotel rooms. Mandatory view message. Thank you, viewer ordained. Is that the best you can do? Well. Look what we have here. So much devotion. 20 streams, Ampy. My goodness, darling. Where's the Carnival Cafe bar with an ocean ceiling? Like the cozy place from Bloodlines, but under the ocean? Cozy place from Bloodlines. She's a scuba cafe bar owner? Oh God, I wish. Wait, which cozy place? Scuba Dakba do? Dakba. Scuba Dooba Doo? Are you thinking of Scooby Dooby Doo? As in this case, Scuba Dooby Doo? There's a long, cool woman in a black dress. Yeah, this is a remix that I have saved to my playlist. I made some adjustments. I figured. Scooby Dooby Doo. Hi, Black Dragon. How are you doing? Bar fight song? Listen. Kind of is. Perry the Platypus theme? What? Can we have Sea-Doo classes at the cafe bar too? No. Because the Sea-Doo is mine. You can't ride on it. I miss riding on Sea-Doos, dude. They're so much fun. It's like having a motorcycle on water. And there's no lanes. Can we harbor WMDs at the cafe? No. Having the FBI knock on my door once is enough. Okay. Doobie doobie doo bop, doobie doobie doo bop. Listen, it's actually, hold on, I'm gonna change the song real quick. I need the other version. I need the cocaine song. Oh yeah. Oh. Coco, what's wrong, baby? She's like yipping under the bed. Coco, you okay? I see that tail. I can see your tail sticking out from under the bed. What, you don't know cocaine? How do you not know cocaine? Hi, baby. Hi, gorgeous. I can't pay her. She's like stretching. And you run. I'm petting the kitty. I'm petting the kitty. He's just now. I don't know why I said kitty. This is a dog. This is a dog. Pupper. Pupper. Also, Corvo, she laid down. I can't reach her now. God damn it. And she's behind me. Give me the paw. Give me the paw. Okay, I'm just gonna scratch her at the end of my fingertips. I can't reach you, baby. Dog secretly cat. No, I don't have a cat. No cats, unfortunately. Out of rage, then look at you like you abandoned them? Yeah. She's like, her head is like right under my chair. Hi, Stinky. I can't reach you when you're laying down. It's also cute how excited she gets too. Hi, baby. Oh my goodness, my stinky little baby. My stinky baby. Will there be a kibby go around to the new house? Probably not. There's already one pup. What the fuck? Oh my god, the hair that's just falling off of her right now. It's not what I've been at all? What? Wait, I am confused. Yeah, I'm a misser, but I could probably get a picture of her any day I asked. It's okay. She'll still be spoiled. She'll still be spoiled. Okay. Don't think with the brain cell that isn't there. Me or Coco? Yeah, I said your name, that she just rolled over. Scritch, scritch, scritch. Gotta make sure she's still sturdy. All the pats, baby. That's my sweet little old lady. All right. All right, chats. Do you want to keep talking, or do we want to get into Hello Kitty? What a drill Jiberians. Do the thing! Do what you gotta do. That is up to you. Isn't that Hachiko? Something like that? 10 pats for the dog? I can do that. Oh, she's out of reach and she just plopped down. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's my baby. That's my baby. Yeah. Hi, Coco. How are you? How are you? Yeah. All right. Yeah, we hit 5. It ended last week. We hit 500 at the end of stream last week. Almost entirely due to Axio. I believe the only other donation that wasn't Axio was $25 from Queens. On the small of her bag, George likes scritches. I give her tons of scritches. Sip big blood? Oh no. All right. All right, chat. Is it? Oh god, what is this? Okay. Is it Hello Kitty time, or do we want to keep yapping? All right, kids, we got another luck check. I'm gonna need you to peek up right now. If you can hear the sound of my voice, it's time to listen in. I better see an emote. I better see a hello. Or we can sit here in silence. Awkward silence as I stare deep into your soul. I demand a Marin Go subathon. Why a Marin Go subathon? I mean, we have goals that are just always in effect. They're always bounties. Hitting 250 will make me play Hello Kitty Island Adventure again. Sit in silence. Hitting the $1,000 on the charity would have made me play Fortnite. Ordained, why do you want me to have a subathon? I don't think you would like occasionally drop subs, but oh, that's not a subathon. That's a partner push. That's a partner push. Do I need to start announcing a partner push to see if friends will help?
Making a mother of all omelets here, Jack. Can't bread over every egg.
That's also another thing is like a lot of the people that are hitting partner are because their time slots are better than mine. I'm just in a very inopportune time for friends to raid in. Like Akami usually ends in the hour before I go live. And Akami is kind of like the only one on the weekdays that I'm live that is live. Because horror is not on until the weekends. And then everybody else starts stream either while I'm live or after I end stream. So I'm just in a bad time slot to again get support from friends. It's not necessarily time zone, it's more time slots. I would be willing to start stream much later in the day to build some momentum. I've done it before. And every time I do it, it just feels terrible when it goes nowhere. It just always feels terrible. If I'm like, yeah, the goal is to get partner. Maybe I should do a partner push. And we did one. Don't want to know how long ago that was? It was after I quit my first job when I was in New England and tried to voting, and our CCV did not change for more than 6 months. I was jobless for over 6 months at the time. Basically pushing every day, streaming like 7 hours a day for over 6 months, and nothing changed. Nothing changed. CCV was still like 20s and 30s. I don't remember exactly which. It was one of those two. But after the move, I don't think it's going to make much of a difference. It's the worst of ideas to do it after the move too, because there's no telling how much momentum we will lose with the time period that I'm gone. My goal is to hopefully minimize how much time I am without streaming, but there's no telling. I am kind of scared that it's going to take a while for my PC to get across the planets. But, you know, as you do. As you do. But yeah, because the goal's always been to get partner. And I figured that's like the goal for technically everyone. So even what difference does it make if I'm like, I want to get partner? It's even worse if it ends up one of those situations where it's like, guys, I'm partner pushing, I get partner, and then my CCV immediately evaporates. It happens with a lot of people. A lot of people. Hi, Pop. How are you doing? Also, I have a bit of a headache. Don't you at least have a better split for 9 months in that case? No. I already have the 60-40 splits. The 70-40 is a pipe dream. We have to have 300 individuals buy a sub. They can't be gifted a sub. Can't be gifted a sub. They have to buy 300 individually for 3 months in a row for us to get the 70-30 split. Right now we have 60-40, but that's only because it requires 100. Looking up there. And Strimo, yours is in transit? Potentially. I am going to do this anyway. I am going to save like all of my fucking streaming settings, OBS layouts, mix it up, templates and stuff, everything onto a passport drive that I have. Same thing with models and stuff. So theoretically, it's possible. Theoretically. But I really wouldn't want to download like my games onto someone else's computer. And this is just a laughable moment in the history books? I don't know, Sunstar. It's already been 4 years. 4 years, like... I would wonder what it's going to be like 4 years from now. That's truly a wonder. Because the difference from when we first started to what it is now is night and day. So there's no telling how much different it's going to be in another 4 years. But I do wonder, man. You just haven't / can't lock in. I know. Yeah. I felt like I locked in during those 6 months during our like second year, but it happens. It happens. Just gotta run a TCG card game. I will make a playable TCG card game. I will actually make it playable without the prime directive being fucking collectability. Play the games, people. Make a game to be played. The art can look good too, if you want. VTuber fighting card game? What do you mean fighting card game? Unplayable trash game? Correct. And that was the thing that I've done every time they've released, quote, a new set or, quote, a revised version, because the rules were fucking stupid when they released. If anybody doesn't remember when GamerSupps' TCG game first released, part of the rules was that the winner takes the cards of the loser. What Shadow Realms bullshit type ruling is that? Not to mention the fact that the game rules were so lack-fucking-luster that power levels were a thing. 8, 9, 10. 10 were the super, like, full color art, the full art, really pretty cards. They didn't have any abilities. They didn't have anything like that. And there was no scaling. So if you had a deck full of 10 power level cards, you could just drop those on the field and start with an advantage from the get-go. We're like Yu-Gi-Oh, but VTubers? No, it's less. It was much worse. It was far. The thing was too, is in its first iteration, the mechanics for the cards, there was only like 5 mechanics. There was 5 mechanics, and all 5 of those mechanics stretched across all the colors. So like, let me think, what are some good examples? I know Buff Pup has a card now. We'll use those two as an example for now. Let's say Shy Lily is blue, Buff Pup is yellow, lightning and water. They have the exact same ability and the exact same power level. And then the only difference for making a deck for them is just like, which one do you like more? Arc Raiders, since I know it's like Hunt and such. I keep seeing so many people playing it. I don't know if I'm going to touch it. At least if I do, I'm probably not going to pay for it. As dual monsters, everyone can play a Kaiba deck with 3 blue eyes, white dragons and win. Yep. It was one of those things too that even before it launched, they were saying in their descriptions, it's like, we're working with TCG designers to make a very playable and fun game. I know, Jess, I saw you in there. I popped in and I was saying, like, are y'all bullying Grizz the appropriate amounts? I was watching, trying to see if it was something I would enjoy, but I just kind of I get the same feeling I get when I watch somebody play Tarkov, where I'm just like, this feels like it's a little over the top. Okay, but did you deserve it, Jess? Did you deserve it? Be honest. Be honest. Do I need to go ask Zozo? I will ask Zozo. I'll make it happen. So damn, why do I have so many notifications? Speaking of TCG cards, Ordain just sent me TCG codes. Hell yeah, baby. Yeah, I play digital Pokemon on occasion because it's really fun. And Ordain buys physical Pokemon cards, but doesn't use the digital codes, so he just sends them to me. And I am inundated, absolutely inundated with as many Pokemon cards as I want. Blasted by a rocket last second. Didn't make it because it blasted me back and not forward. Aren't the rockets the things that, like when the timer runs out? I saw a video of that yesterday or the day before. Oh, that's a good question, Beef. I don't remember the last deck I made that I was playing, but I do remember it being fun. Hold on, I'm gonna double check. I have not played it in a couple weeks. Oh god, I gotta update. What the fuck? Oh man. Forcibly opens the website. All right, I'll have to check later. I know I had like a Yon Mega deck. I was running, damn it. I don't remember what my most recent one I made was. I made a Team Rocket deck at one point. That was pretty fun. Pokey sugar daddy? It's only occasionally. The Ordained Lamau. I don't even ask him. He just sends them to me. That makes sense. It's also, I've ended up at one point with so many booster cards and playing so much and going through their battle pass that I literally have so much of the like digital card generation currency in game that I could generate any deck I wanted for free. Man, was a virtual adept all along? Wait, what was the Digimon? Where's the Digimon line? Who said that? Sunstar? Digimon Digicodes. I'm starting to think Marin just likes digital. Digital what? Digital monsters? Digimon. Digital monsters. Digimon are the champions. Change. Anyway, I keep telling myself I'll play something again like Shadowverse or Gwent. That's like saying you're gonna go back and play Hearthstone. Yes, Kono, I'm talking about you. Kono always going back and playing Hearthstone. Digital all along? I am entirely digital. I mean, from a superficial perspective, maybe. Kono's a Digimon? We do agree Kono is Digimon. Kono's entire internet experience is basically just the lifeline of a Digimon. It was the ones and zeros you made along the way. Maybe. Mayhaps. I still think it's very funny that there's some people that don't know what VTubers are. That see a person that uses a model of any kind and they think it's an AI. It's so fucking goofy, dude. We're the ones being scammed this entire time? What do you mean? What do you mean? We're turning you into a concept now? What do you mean? As you're better at judging, if I were to add what digital card game to play, what would you recommend? Ooh. Digital card games that are still good right now? MTG Arena, if you want to play Magic the Gathering. Pokemon TCG Live, which is a digital one. That's the one that I play on. And shit, I'm brain farting. There was a third one, but now I can't remember what it was. Pokemon MTG. Oh, Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel's pretty all right. It is a little difficult to get the cards that you want when you start out, but you can get there pretty quick. And then once you get the deck that you like, you don't really got to worry about a lot of stuff. I can't believe Baron was an AI pretending to be a person all this time. Do you think an AI would come up with the shit that I've told y'all? Or be a communist? Listen. It's still, yeah, I know, MP. It's just one of those things, it's like, it's kind of one of the best online card games. Because otherwise, there's not a lot of options. There's really not in terms of good online card games. Balatro. Queen has been AI this entire time. That explains the voice. Go Clank, not Go Clank. I, for one, welcome our AI ringleader, Overlord. Do not Baron Go Clanker. Oh my god. Hello, viewers. Welcome to the show. Please and thank you for tuning in. Is there anything else you would like to see today? Like Spartacus? No, I'm the AI. No, I'm the AI. I'm not gonna lie, chat. I'm pretty sure, like, 3 or 4 miles down a road near me, I think they're building a data center. So over the last, like, 2 years, they've been building a park. They built, like, a mile-long park that is basically a massive sidewalk with 2 loops at the ends for people to essentially pace and walk and kind of just enjoy the tree and stuff, nature and everything that was there. And then in the last like 3 months, they tore down the forest on one side of this park and are now building what just looks like a massive concrete structure on the side. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be a data center. I'm like 99% certain. There's no signs of what it's going to be. But I'm almost like 100% sure. There may be brownouts in your area in the future. If there is, I'm about to do some heinous shit, dude. I'm about to do some heinous shit. I'm not starting to think that maybe these places don't need their giant diesel generator cables. I got bolt cutters. I got super bolt cutters. Twitch is trying to silence me? What do you mean? Yep, Kelvin. Yes, it is. Are we going to the Super Bowl? The Super Bowl. Hey, listen, I'll dress properly. They didn't even tear down like the major part of the park. They basically took the property line past the sidewalk and then cut all that down. It also does not help that next to this place, basically if you keep going down another road that this one is on, it's the project houses in my town. So they're basically like a bunch of brick duplexes that they've very recently started, I guess, updating. Like recently they stripped all the bricks off. They took all of the roofs off, built new roofs, and are like re-siding the whole place. So I don't know why they're updating all of these project housings. All of these project houses and now building. Oh God. Did the business buy those houses? Did the data center buy those houses? Oh no. Ooh. Okay. To think that all we needed to get companies behind nuclear power was to say it could power your shitty crypto and AI data centers better? God, fucking. Every time I bring up nuclear too, it's always funny because you hear people like, oh, but what about Chernobyl? Okay, but what about the Titanic? Is that why you don't go on ships? No, but ships are relatively. Yeah. I hear you. It's the same fucking thing. Paying employees in Amazon script. would laugh in a person's face if they offered me that shit. Okay, but what about fire? Do we need creme brulees in chat? Chat, creme brulees? Creme brulee? Yeah. Yeah. I don't go on cruise ships because they're shit. Also correct. Yeah, but would you ride a ferry places? Would you get on a fishing boat? Would you get on generally any other kind of boats? Saying that the reason nuclear is bad is because of Chernobyl is the equivalent of saying boats are bad because of the Titanic. It's human error that fucking caused that. Like every other intelligent country, correct. Thorium salt reactors. Coal's killed more people than all nuclear applications in the history of history, including accidental or intentional, correct. I've never trusted a boat since the Titanic. Well, that's a shame because it was technically the navigator's fault that it happened. Because he was out fucking around. Fuck thorium, just building anything at this point. Listen, I don't want to say build anything because we are building stuff and they're fucking data centers that is siphoning almost every single utility in those cities away from the people. Like, people are developing asthma because of these data centers. TikTok claiming the airships are making a comeback. I want to say I saw something about that too, but I can't remember why. Was it Elon Musk? Did Ordain become a mechanic to defeat them? Ordain became a mechanic to defeat cars. Do you want to be a sky pirate with me? Actually, does kind of sound like fun. Infrastructure can't handle it, and if they try, residential power prices will go through the roof. Yeah, because they're subsidizing. In case you didn't know, the power center in Memphis, I believe it's a Grok AI power center technically, does not pay for its electricity. It's instead distributed across all of the people in that section of town on the same grid. Because that's the deal that they struck to get the business of those companies. Listen, if I was the mayor of a major town and somebody was like, man, we really want to get one of those, what is it? What are some of the companies? Not alt AI. We'll just say AI data centers in my town. Or like they showed up, we're like, we have a proposal, get out. But we want to build it, get out. Fuck off. Got my sticker and treated myself to some boba? Hell yeah, Stevie. Hell yeah. Also, speaking of which, tomorrow is election day in New York, chance. Tomorrow is New York election day. Who's ready to see if Mamdani becomes mayor or if somebody cheated? Nuclear power was based. Chernobyl only happened because the operators were doing everything wrong with all the safety systems turned off. Correct. They were running tests during the day shift and it took too long. So the day shift ended. And rather than being like, oh, okay, we'll put everything back online and we can do the test again tomorrow. They were like, oh no, night shift can do it. The night shift that was never trained and had no idea how to do the test that they were running. Prop 50 for the win. Oh. To cheat at this point, they've been known to do it. They've been known to do it. Bankrupt a hospital nearby and the water company billed everyone else a $200 fee to balance the books when the court let the firm off the hook for the bill. Yeah. Claims that ships are actually cheaper and better to run than semi-trucks, which is true. They may be a need for steampunk enthusiasts to make a killing. The thing is, they're extremely unsafe and extremely impractical, especially under above average winds. That's why they didn't last the 30s. They didn't last through the 30s into the 40s because that they were extremely deadly and extremely impractical. People thought that they were going to be useful to the point where there were even Zeppelin airlines, but they got delayed very frequently from things as little as just a gust of wind. You know, I believe it's the... Oh, shit. Is it the Empire State Building that still has the Zeppelin landing platform? I can't remember. Hold on a second. Hold your horses. Hold your horses. Okay, it does. Yeah, the tip of the Empire State Building used to be a mooring line for Zeppelins. If you Google it, there's even pictures. There's even pictures of what it looked like when Zeppelins were moored to the top of the Empire State Building. Hindenburg was the big reason? No, almost every single Zeppelin that was made went up in flames at some point. The only reason that Hindenburg is famous is because it happened in the United States. It went up in flames in the United States and everyone on board died. Thank you, T-Stone. Thank you for hanging out. Take money from the people who make more than they could use in 50 lifetimes. Fuck, what would we do that for? Are you stupid? That's always how they treat it, too. Oh, but then the millionaires and billionaires are going to leave. No, the fuck they're not. I promise you, they are not going to leave America. They're just going to bitch and complain the entire time and or connive behind the doors like they did from the 40s forward. And then all you got to do is just keep stomping on them. More like Tailspin Sky Pirates would be like Dawn Carnage? Maybe. New presidents spending their terms and erasing everything the previous president did? Correct. Correct. It is a goddamn nightmare. But yeah, Zeppelins. Zeppelins are cool, but deadly, and not really worth the investment. There was a time when the U.S. Navy, fun fact chat, the U.S. Navy had a, stick with me on this, airship that worked as an aircraft carrier. And I want to see if anybody remembers this ship. I'm going to go grab its name. Was it the Akron? I'm pretty sure it was the Akron. Yeah, it was the Akron. Yeah, the U.S. had a massive airship called the Akron. The thing was, originally when it was supposed to be used, they were thinking it was going to be like a full body replacement to an aircraft carrier, surface level aircraft carrier. The thing was, though, it was terrible because it was be spotted on the horizon before they could spot anything. And so shots would be made at the Akron before Akron knew where anything was. Eventually, though, the Akron was turned into a solo scouting vessel. The Spruce Goose never even got off the ground, basically. Unless you count 20 feet off the water surface as off the ground. Broke a ton of rules to be like, see, I fucking told you it works. Ugh. The thing was, though, is it was terrible. They were extremely delicate. They were painfully hard to use. They were quite slow. And they were easy targets. But Akron did find itself to be extremely useful whenever it was used for scouting. Not the Akron itself, but the fleet of planes that were on it that essentially would run scouting protocols over long distances. That's, if I remember correctly, too, in the Akron's test run, and all of their like test battles and their simulations, the Akron was shot down in every single one within less than 45 minutes. Again, remember, these war games are only simulated. Military was not the right applications for them. Even then, civilians did not work out well. Germany had the essentially the Zeppelin Airlines. German Zeppelin Airline Company. Deutsche Zeppelin Reederei. They did not go very well. More times than not, just like the German fucking, what's the word? Train lines of today were late, like 90% of the time, because of wind making either takeoff or landing borderline impossible. Yes, there were Zeppelin commercial airlines, but again, they were not good. They were not useful. They were more trouble than they were worth, which is why it was better to develop airlines with planes as they are today than it was to continue with Zeppelins. Okay, it would be kind of funny. Except for the fact that during this period, it was Nazi Germany that was making the Zeppelins. I mean, do we need to talk about the fact that, if I remember correctly, the Hindenburg was a Nazi Germany airship. Let me have my Indiana Jones enjoyments. No. Yeah, the Hindenburg was a Nazi Germany airship that literally had the Nazi Germany flags on its back fins. Troublesome ideas, Marin. How likely is it to build a Rapture from BioShock? How likely is it? Possibly. It would take a long time. It would take a long time. It would take a lot of skilled divers, and it would take a lot of systems. And more than likely, I'm trying to think of what the best way to build it from scratch would be. The best way would probably be to just sink the pieces, weld and attach all of them together. Like basically plan out the whole thing above sea, and then sink it all, build everything together, build the pump systems, and then pump all the water out. But that raises the question, if the pumps are going, how many pumps are you going to burn out in the process? Or if you're going to spend the money to get a good pump that can empty out the space. Oh, undersea pressure is feasible to survive. Again, though, that does require extreme costs. Why would you condemn so many people to die at the bottom of the sea? I'm just saying it's feasibly possible, and with the proper safety protocols and time spent planning it out, it could be safe. Must start talking about libertarian seasteaders. Fuck libertarian seasteaders, dude. Those are pathetic losers. Don't think we can manage the air situation? Recycled air is a feasibility. Or building air pumps that basically go all the way up to the surface. Project with huge costs and safety protocols? You wish. Algae is already the biggest provider. Also true. You could technically build an entire section that was basically meant for green life to produce things like oxygen and recycle the air. That is very feasible. They could also work simultaneously with an air conditioning unit. Central air conditioning. Oh yeah, it would be the corrosion that's caused by salt water, as well as like the plants, the possible animals. Maintenance is going to be the biggest thing. Unless whatever you were getting at the bottom of the ocean is worth trillions effectively, there's no reason to build a place like Rapture. daisy chain them together. They're just daisy chain submarines like it's fucking... What's that one movie that has the daisy trained 18 wheelers? Shove some algae in it so then it's not a shirt at a carnival. Oh my god. Oxygen, fiber, glass, food, caffeine, even nicotine out of algae. Depends, true. But again, you would probably also be working with hydroponics and stuff for the food. But it would have to be artificial hydroponics. You'd be using artificial light rather than any source of natural light. Again, there's a lot of ways to make closed system ecosystems, especially at the bottom of the ocean. To make it aesthetically pleasing, kind of like Rapture is in the case of, isn't Rapture like Art Deco? This is not really worth it. Was it Mad Max? I'm pretty sure it wasn't Mad Max. Void slaves where you send the poor to live in space stations and mine asteroids, aren't we? Probably. The second a billionaire figures out how to construct a asteroid mining facility, it's over. Unless we kill him, it's over. You ready for Weyland-Yutani? Multi-galactic conglomerates? Yeah, that's part of his plan for Mars. But even then, there was a point where he was planning to, what was it? The brief window before the name you got them laughed off the internet? Are you talking about the one where it was supposed to be like panels of algae in the middle of downtown areas? And yeah, people deserve to be laughed at for coming up with that idea. Does it work? Is it feasible? Sure. Would I rather you just plant some goddamn trees? Yes, and stop killing the algae in the ocean. You fucking losers. Every time I hear a tech billionaire come up with some dumb idea that's supposed to be like, guys, this is how we can help save the environment and not have to worry about our carbon footprint so much. All right, Captain Headass, how about we just plant some trees and stop planning, like, I don't know, data centers on barges and shit like that? The real villain of the Alien franchise? Correct. They'll try to drag the space rocks here. Maybe? I don't know. Plant trees! Build trains! Mixed-use housing! So we'll build a city that's just one big line through the desert. Yes. Sold this on electric cars. That was probably worse. The thing is they're doing... Cars are fine. And listen, stick with me on this. I hate cars. I hate driving. Give me an option that's anything but driving and I will take it. I wish we had more public transit, better buses, more light rail, more high-speed long distance rail, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It would be better in the long run for everyone. But they have driven home the propaganda that cars equals freedom. And therefore, if you want to be you don't want to give up your car, but you want to be less guilty about driving a pickup truck or a diesel guzzler or something, then have an electric car. But the thing is, our number of car production and number of car buyers is fucking awful. It's buying electric cars is not going to be the solution. It can help. It can help in some ways. It's better than having a gasoline or a diesel car. Sure. Totally fine. But keeping the same number of cars that we currently have is what's screwing us. We have individual rail pods. I will kick those motherfucking things over. They tried it with hybrid cars. Yep. But even then, the goal should be having less cars, not building constantly more and more car alternatives that require rarer and rarer minerals. Anyway, we have a screen time. Also, my throat hurts. I'm going to go grab a throat lozenge. I will be right back. Nee. Okay. I have a Ricola throat lozenge. Chat is electric. Okay. I would not say okay, but it's better. Better does not always mean good. But if say like you could turn your entire household into, again, this is only at a personal level. Again, also the idea of a personal carbon footprint was made up by oil companies. Not even a joke. Thanks, Chevron. It is more than 70% of the carbon that is released that is effectively causing climate change was done by corporations. So to think that you are the only person that is like can have an effect, or that individuals at that level can have an effect, is just basically delusional. Lose their maximum charge within 5 to 7 years? Correct. Again, I would rather much more introduce large like rail systems and then be much more incentivized to just not have a car. Also, yeah, y'all left Sunstar to play the game for you. What the fuck, chance? What the fuck? Yep. You are correct. We only got 24 seconds. All right, we're not going to do another game. Netherlands contributes 0.03% to the emissions. Yep. Doesn't the Netherlands use... Hold on, I don't know. Let me see real quick. We must learn, chat. Netherlands. Power sources. Biomass, wind power, and solar power. Well, it still uses natural gas and coal as 62% of its total electricity produced. One nuclear power plant in Borselling is responsible for around 3% of total generation. More than 75% of electricity produced centrally by thermal and nuclear units. Wait. Wait, that's a confusing phrasing. What the hell? Weird. Import export? Huh. Interesting. All right. We can stop selling our nuclear waste and just use it to build thorium reactors like the countries who buy ours? Yes, correct. Hi, Tootsie. Are you kicking your little Pete's? Tootsie be kicking the Pete's. That is always such a goofy emote to me. Hoi, Bubby. Geothermal power is great if you live near a volcano. Correct. Do you know what's in the United States? Well, we can't really do it on our major super volcano, so... Because most of its surface area is... Say it with me, chat. Protected land that should not be processed in any way.
Well, look at you.
Leon, thank you for the follow. Welcome in. Also, Local Mando. I'm sorry I missed you earlier. Thank you for the follow, too. Oh, my goodness. Hold on a second. I'm crushing the lozenge. Now I feel like I need a goofy animation. Wind power sucks. Solar also sucks. Coal power is bad for people. Nuclear power has human error. Everything has human error ordained. The thing is, proper preparation, proper training, and understanding the limitations is where things will work. No, I already did the crouch. I already did the crouch. Okay. Because the world is shitting, you're fine. You're a traitor. A traitor? It's my stream. I can't be a traitor to myself. All right, chat. Are y'all ready for Hello Kitty? Is it Hello Kitty time? Among Us. Among Us. I mean, you could. Rule of thumb for nuclear power, you don't go with the lowest bidder to save $1. Correct. We need Hello Kitty to save us. Doing. All right, let me go change the category. Hello Kitty. Island Adventure. All right. Let me get the game up and running. Save us, corporate mascot. No. All right, hold on. Where is it? Oh, that's the wrong one. That's funny. I was looking at the old game screen. I forgot I still had that. All right. All right, kids. Let's check the game volume. Oh, right. Okay, hold on. Let me get him. Oh, no. Hold on. Hold on. I need to do a thing. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Nope. Cancel, stop, cease, desist. Whew. I hate the Windows drop-down thing sometimes. Where is it? Data. Okay. And now I need you. You. Okay. All right, chat. Are we satisfied? We have our boy. And yes, he is attached to me. It's cap sensitive? What's cap sensitive? Bring your sheep to work? Listen, okay, he's doing his best. All right. Oh, I have a controller. I plugged in the controller like half an hour ago. Now, where the fuck were we in this game? Oh, hi, welcome back. Dear Daniel is visiting the island today. Be sure to go say hello. I heard Barry might be coming soon. You should try to prepare a cabin. Heard Sheepon might be coming soon. You should try to prepare a cabin. Little gift to start your day off right. Dying. Think of my outfits? It's days of plenty. The time of year always gets me thinking about the harvest and cozy stories like The Princess and the Portobello. One of my favorite fairy tales. It's upon a time. No! No! I refuse. A witch? No. I don't want to hear the story. I don't want to hear the story. This is story time. I love. What are you dressed as a gourd? It's about a frog and a princess? No, I don't want to listen to the story. No story. No story. No story. Karopi, shut up! I don't want to get through the things. All the random announcements. I still don't have control. Fuck off, Cinema Roll! Celebrating Jam Jamboree. To cap this event, I've put together some jam jar recipes for you. Here are the recipes. Some extra jam jars so you can have fun making sweet treats. Jam Danish. Thumbprint cookies. Jam crepes. Oh my god. Oh my god. Fuck! There's more! Spooky celebration. The days are getting shorter. The nights are getting longer. It's time for ghosts and ghost stories. I do like pumpkins. Just let me get through these announcement things, please. Oh my god. I'm unconvinced. Oh my goodness. You might be too adorable? Yeah, fuck it. I'm sheeping it. I'm sheeping it. What do you mean you're sheeping it? He's just a baby. You can't go saying that in front of him. Look at him. How could you? Baking pumpkin treats, putting together a costume, tiny frilly bows, researching the anthropological history of autumnal festivals. Yo, finally a cat after my own heart. Got the most important one. Trick-or-treating? Trick-or-treating's dead, Kuromi. Trick-or-treating doesn't exist anymore. Spooky outfits. The spooky outfits? Spooky treats, but only 3 every day? Oh god, this game has dailies? Holiday dailies? Oh my god. Best teacher around. Happy spooky celebration, everyone. Am I free yet? Can I go? Please! You know who's celebrating their birthday? It's Kuromi, and that means you have to make her a birthday cake. Just look for Kuromi decorating kits around the spooky swamp. You'll find them in pumpkins, glowberries, swamp mallows, or spin-ups. We'll make Kirby's birthday celebration the best ever. Okay. Oh, I got a broom. Oh, hi, Coco. I forgot. How do I run? Can I buy things? What are you selling? Nyum. Okay, right. This is the fast travel. What were we doing? Okay. Okay, we do have the mermaids. What is the... Find power crystals. Uh-oh. Yeah, that's right. We had 2 of... Son of a bitch. Oh. Why is mouse click? Grab a screenshot. Okay. Thing is, though, is I don't know where I forget where we made sheep go around. Shut up. Oh. Coral milk. Where would it be? Seahorses. Oh, trash bag. More trash. Oh. So your sign shows a photo. It looks like it's somewhere around the island. Isn't that next to the pirate ship? Isn't that like way over here? We need a sheep go rounds? No! Oh, hey, there's a chest, but I don't think we have a key for that. Also, I thought I saw something over there. This way. I'm pretty sure there's a sprint button. God damn it! Why does this look like something that can be moved? Where is that pirate ship? Oh, right there. That's it. Give me the coins. Oh, hey, a comic. Give chocolate. Oh, look at the little star. Oh, there's another one over here. Excellent, excellent. All right, chat. Do you want ocean pirate chocolate coins? But what was this trying to tell me? Oh, that's good, Tama. And that counts. Look at his hands. Okay. To do the Finch leaderboard? Oh, you're right. Okay, hold on. Oh. Hello. Okay. Okay, yeah, you're right. We are late on the fish leaderboard. All right, who's it gonna be? Gee, I wonder. It's Beef. Hi, Oki. Oh my goodness. Sorry, I felt like I was gonna burp. Also, hold on. I need to let Coco out too. Okay, come on, Sneaky. Okay. Which, doesn't Beef already have VIP right now? Right? Beef already does, right? The Baron coin is chocolate? No, the Baron coin is not chocolate. Unfortunately, the Malvin coin is not, in fact, chocolate. Where's this other fucking power crystal, dude? Let's say we've already been inside. It's not necessarily useless. That just means Beef gets to keep his VIP for another month. Okay, it's B to jump. I thought there was a jump button. Eee.
What's your pleasure? What's your fear?
Hi, Kona. I've never been jealous of Hello Kitty before, but here I am. What do you mean? I wish it was pins, you fool. Yet another thing I can keep from Kono. Yet another thing. Also, Kono, when are you getting your Digimon line drawn up? You make the perfect Digimon. Definitely a virus time. Oh, whoops. Wordle. The fact that turtle disappeared makes me think that I probably could have caught it with... Oh, I can't use the net down here. Never mind. Where's this other fucking power crystal? Not there. Can we get in here? Oh, we can. Hello. I keep hitting the wrong buttons. Yes, Lucian? You ate it? What do you mean you ate it? The next art project? Fuck it. Let's go. Let's go. No! I'm really dumb. I had figured it out. It's okay. I'm stupid. And I have a headache. Anyway, not a puzzler, a pizzler. That says, what do you mean, pizzler? A mirror. I want the power crystal. That's it? There has to be more. Oh, okay, this is an invisible wall. I thought that looked like something I could walk on. How could you? How's the game? We just started the game. There you go, I wanted that seashell. Another chest. Give me the coral milk. More seashells. God damn it, where is it? Oh, hi. Choose a hat to exchange. No, these are my hats. You can't have them. I want a crystal. I want a sparkle. Where are you running, Kono? Where are you running? Oh, look at that little guy. Oh, I can't try and catch him, apparently. Here, more coral milk over here. Okay, there's got to be like other doors or something to come into. There's a comic. And paper? Oh, there's another comic. I'm back from the beyond. Back from the beyond. Ooh. Anyway. Did you just go take a shower? All right. Okay. Again, this is what we were stuck on last time. We couldn't figure out where the last power crystal was. Oh, what is that line way over there? Oh, okay, graphic error. But see, this door has 3 markers on it. But we don't have it. More seashells. Oh, it could be all the way down here. This looks pretty deep. There it is. Hooray! Oh, hello. Apple slice. Which, wait a second. Oh. Wait, where's inventory? Or I forget, do we have to... No, it's not there. Combine them to stamina. Okay, we have to combine them, that's right. Alright, now we need to go back and find the map? Oh, all the way over there. Okay. Which may be better just to take the fast travel. No, it's my lunch. Fuck you. Mine. Yeah, comedy club it is. Oh, Jesus. What the hell? all the coral milk here. So hold on, can we buy some of these? Nope, not yet. Oh, actually we can. Excuse me. Okay. Now we'll go back. As much as I want to pick up everything. Best of both worlds? Oh no. Comic. Nyahaha. Another comic. No, something, but that's a comic. That's a comic. Okay. All the crystals. All right, do we drain the ocean? What does this do? A portal? Oh, mermaid machine. Connected to top hats. Seems very fancy. I hope it helps me find some underwater critters. The fuck? Another one of Top Hat's memories? Okay. Here he is! The mascot. It's always the sheep. It's always the sheep. Thank you for getting the Bermuda Fire back online. Of course, Top Hat. I suspected we might find you here. Was that another memory from when you and your partner built the resort? Yes, the Silhouette must have been my partner, the co-creator of Big Adventure Park. We created the Rainbow Reef to preserve the beauty of the ocean for everybody. Where were you two? Underwater. At first, I thought building below sea level was foolish and out of budget. We came up with the Bermuda Fire. What a wonderful device. Rainbow Reef became one of the island's most popular attractions. So why would we abandon this after working so hard on it? Hey, Mal, I'm sure we must be around here somewhere. Huh? I can't take this anymore. I gotta try it out. Okay. Just pops out the bottom. Connecting to the island on a totally new wavelength? I feel uncomfortable. Okay. Look for more power crystals. By the way, my sensors indicate that there are still more power crystals located near Mount Hothead. Oh, fuck. Gemstone Mountain. Enjoy the beauty of the ocean. Great. Great. To advertise my upcoming show. What? Okay, I guess. Can I just stop wearing the weird mermaid outfit now? Anyway. Oh, can I go through here? Excellent. Alright, gotta change my outfit now. Forgot, how do I change my outfit? I can have a mushroom cap? Okay, what were we wearing before? Okay. I did not even realize that I was talking to him. Wait, I can keep giving him stuff? Okay, works for me. More gizmos. Yeah, I can give him 3 gifts a day. Okay. Give me that. Move. Move, damn it! No, I did not want to talk to you. Trick or treat. Spooky treats. Give me something good to eat. Ouch, sorry. I punched the microphone stand. Be powered with better crystals in the future. You wouldn't need to search for them. Listen. Okay. There's way too much stuff here. What is that crab doing? We must buy all of the ocean houses. Hi, Gudetama. Yeah, everybody's dumping their trash in the ocean. Bastards. Bastards, every one of them. Alright, let's see if we can go back to the... somewhere else. We also need to go find My Melody. Ugh, slow swimming. I swear there was a way to swim faster, but I don't remember what it was. Oh, there's fast travel right there. Also, hold on. I see you. What are you? Empty billboard. Quest discovered. Ice cream social. Oh no. Alright, where the hell? Okay, she's like right there. But also I would like to do the most important part, which is to scamper all the way to Tuxedo Sam. You. Alright, you got any new clothes? Oh my god. God damn it. Trick or treats. I think that's part of the mission. Is that the mission? Are you happy? I already did it! Here, I'm taking my hat back and I'm gonna put it back on you. Spooky aesthetics. Get you a new outfit. What? You got a new outfit? Wait, why did these show up here but I can't put them on? I'll explore the island to find this outfit. Okay. This is very important. Excellent. Excellent. I am fashion incarnate. Can't rush the poor sheep. Statistically, China. What? Alright, take your quest away. Also, what is this monocle in the corner? I'm buying the monocle. Alright, we have to do the important thing too, which is go do some cooking in Hello Kitty's cafe. And of course she has a mission. Special island recipe, pineapple stack cake. Pineapple and flour? Wait, don't we have pineapple? I thought we did this before. You for the flour. Wait, there's a coffee machine here now? Oh no. You know what, sure. More tofu. Why does Hello Kitty give away tofu? I still don't understand that. Oh my god, the decorating kits. Oh, we have pineapples. Perfect. Here's the sakura cheesecake. Okay. Pineapple. Oh, I have hit square. Done. Did we already finish Vampire 2? Yes, Kelvin. We're going to be playing again tomorrow, though. We're starting a new playthrough tomorrow. Would you try? Come back tomorrow. We'll work on it together. Oh. What other stuff can I make? Let's see. Is there anything we know that? That. My sweet salty chocolate balls. Macaroons. Those pearls? Do we have pearls? Plays the void? No. 50th anniversary cake? What? Oh, it only uses one? No, why would I do that? When female fire is so much cooler. Excellent. Hi, Blossom. How are you doing? All right. And then we need to go. Give me that ticket. Talk to my melody.
Look at you.
Hi, Ra. Ra is my name. Is name. Ra is name. Okay, if you say so. I'm blocking you, Cinnamon Roll. I'm blocking you. Nah, you're getting chocolate coins. Yeah. What do we get? Kawaii floor lamp? Oh no. Candy cloud, huh? Here, take those. Have the latte. Is person culture? True. Big smile ability. Big smile. Okay. We got more flour. Here, have sakura cheesecake. Have strawberry. Okay, so she gives flour. Oh no, a story crest. No! No! Come with me, trick or treat. Yes, more spooky treats. What about you, Cinema Roll? Can I trick or treat from you? Excellent. As you can see, I am Gudetama Shroom. The greatest costume of all time. Oh. That's. The spooky lamp. 3. Because I said so. Okay. Okay, where the hell are we going? Back to the comedy club? Okay. Well, fast travel's over here. Comedy club. Uh-oh. I'm not mermaided. So you do have to go through the machine every time. There's no way I'm going up there. Just picture the audience as mermaids. Can't remember my punchlines. I'm just so nervous. Maybe a cup of coffee will calm my nerves. Will you go get me something from the espresso machine? Any kind of drink with candle nuts. I don't think we have candle nut, do we? Oh, it's just there. Okay. Oh no, chat. There's multiple ingredients. It's so over. This is another cafe mixology stream. Egg. For more cozy games. Listen, if we hit partner, I will promise you we will do more cozy games. Hell, I will get Power Wash Sim and we will stream the entire thing. The entire thing. Well, let's try doing just one ingredient at a time and see what happens. A mocha. Okay. As if I just do an egg. Egg coffee. Okay, but with just milk. Do we get a latte? I heard it here first. Yes, I will play more cozy. I will play more of whatever games I want to play for the day, rather than sticking to the spooky theme. Or only playing cozy games when y'all force me to. My goodness. What do you think of pineapple gets in the coffee machine? Oh, just a regular coffee. Okay. But you, Candy Clown. Sweet latte. A banana. Banana! Chat, I have to, okay? I have to unlock as many recipes as possible. This is legally required. Oh, okay, I guess we already knew that one. Pumpkin! Time to make a pumpkin spice latte. Is that what this is gonna be? Wait, what happens if I mix coral milk with the pumpkin? You. Darn it. Tofu. On the billboard? Listen, if y'all wanted to do a billboard, I can't stop you. I would not sue you if somebody bought a billboard and put an advertisement of me on it. I would at least hope that it looks good. Ooh, toasted almond coffee? All right, what about marshmallows? What if I do chocolate and marshmallows? We got a sweet latte. Okay, if we do you and you. Nope. It seems like the ones that don't have special recipes. Lurk check Acon. Chat, do you know what that means? It's time to pay attention. It's time to focus up. It's time to come grab a cup of coffee. As they continue to literally fill this counter with coffees no one has ordered. Snickers dick thing quote on it. No, babe, you can't do that to me. Is that flour? Sure, why not? Coffee and flour. It's still just candlenut coffee. Okay, what happens if I use decorating kits? No? Huh. Okay, what if I do the 50th anniversary things? Guys, the frosty. Ooh. Okay, we're gonna make a few of those. Excellent. Excellent. Hi, Saprossi. How are you doing? Chats, I need to see the rest of you for that lurk check. Where are you? Oh, he's up on stage already. Oh, the recipes. Oh, I have to gift it to him. That's right. Here, have cans of that coffee. Coffee machine user? Listen, I wish. I've never owned a cappuccino machine. SS86 Mixmaster? Ooh. Could we share this? Dynamic duo? Can we share the spotlight? Help with that, like my comedy partner. Oh, this will be fantastic. You're a lifesaver. Follow my lead. Fins crossed. Here we go. I don't want to watch this chat. I'm not gonna look. I'm not gonna look. We're just gonna click through it. With no eyes. Drops cue cards. Fish. Bottom feeder say when you wished him happy birthday. Thanks for the sediments. Why do sharks swim in salt water? Because mineral water's too expensive? So many jobs today, so many jobs. Just play quotes for a section of the show? No, absolutely not. Comedy act went off that hitch. You had 3 jokes. 3 jokes. Tangible X Factor here that can take us to the top. Team up at another comedy show. Good luck on all your ventures. Now I just have to figure out which road that chicken crossed. Okay. All right, I bring presents. Wait. What the fuck? Oh, he gives candle nuts? Huh. Okay, then. Wait, why are we already friendship 7? Damn. Aquatic gift crafting plans. Ooh. Who wants fish sticks? No. Okay. What missions do we have right now? Potion hunts. All right, yeah, we'll go do the Queen of Halloween. Here. Oh, wait, the swamp is above us. Excellent. Excellent. I must have all the pumpkins. Excellent. What do you got? Crisp autumn air. Best of all, there were spooky vibes, the witchy hats, ghostly fogs, the owls hooting, and the glow buddies. Something. And best of the best is me, my birthday. Celebrating my birthday in the spooky swamp, of course, with only the most aesthetic decorations. Aesthetic decorations, you say? Lots of tricks, plenty of treats as well. My kind of party. Almost ready for the party, but I need your help. I need you to deliver the last invitation to my birthday party. To Hello Kitty, Cinema Roll, Adsmaru, and Hangyodan. Alright. Alright, at least like 3 of those, though, are in the main part. Excuse me, pardon me, where's my fast travel? Oops, Hello Kitty. Was my melody one of them? Mermaidified fashion? No. Oh, I have to give her the thing. Duh. Okay. Go visit mermaids? Might be tricky at the spooky swamp. Is the queendom of friendship? Okay. You didn't change your clothes. Okay. And then we gotta go find Betsmarm. Leaves. You have invitation. I just forgot. So it's the fish guy. Then what was the other one? Was it Tuxedo Sam or was it My Melody? Oh, it was Cinema Roll. Cinema Roll! Oh, good lord. Cinema Roll is going to be the hardest one, so we'll go to the comedy club. Take your birthday invites. Well, let me open the map while I'm in here. Oh no, Cinema Rolls at the swamp. Cinema Roll! You! I meant to gift, not talk. Okay. Spoil the fun, but I'm not by not having a costume. I do have something fancy. Let's see what you think. It doesn't show me anything. What I'm dressed up as? What do you mean? The Prince of Sprinkles? Sunshine and rainbows. I'm all set for the party? Okay. Alright, where's Kurumi? Oh, hey, another comic. Oh boy. The wholesomeness hurts my ass. Hi, slime. Yes. Things ready, candles, balloons, etc. Already my awesome witch costume. Where's your hat? Like something's missing. Pick something cool. Where do I... What costume do I need? I don't know what costume to get. Damn it. I clicked the wrong button. Does this count? I'll commit arson service if you don't approve Twitch mobile. I wish, dude. Keeps buffering. I haven't dropped any for. Oh my god, I stole the outfit. Uh-oh, I committed a taboo. I love the spooky swamp. I love everyone's costumes. You have princesses. I have a detective. No case too tricky for me to crack. I almost said quack, but he's not a duck. A sunny rainbow? Oh. Party favor. Balloons? Nice. Okay, party over. Now, if excuse me, I have to put back on my totally sick digs. Yeah, that's the stuff. Look at me go. Oh no, we gotta go to Pom Pom Purin. Okay. Didn't he have... Oh, there it is. Okay, that's the closest one. Wink. Alright, what do you need? Offer you some ice cream, but the dessert machine needs fizzy crystals for power, and it's out. You get some fizzy ore from riding the minecarts in the crystal caves. Busy getting the boat back together, so you think you could get some? Need 6 fizzy ore. Okay. I guess we're going into the mines then. Chat. Commercial break. I see it. I see it. It's fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it. All right. I am going to go stand up and stretch and massage my throat for a little bit. So I will be back in a couple minutes. Y'all are not allowed to burn anything. Actually, everybody's allowed to burn things down except Ordain. Y'all have fun. Okay. What'd I miss? Who died? Sorry about that, sheep. Anyway. Can we have revolution? God, I wish. I wish, baby. I wish. I did a little on the inside. Okay, but for what reason this time? There needs to be a reason. You better have a reason. Hold on, I'm just checking a thing. Don't worry about it, chat. Don't worry about it. Okay. You were in Soul Hackers? Soul Hackers? What is Soul Hackers? Is it an anime? You drank the green liquid out of the sink? Did you drink the drain cleaner? Did you drink the Drano? Damn, Beef. I'm gonna miss you, buddy. Good luck. Don't burp on mic. I auto respond. Good girl. That's creepy, dude. My response when I hear somebody burp is just, you feel better. You feel better. All right. Y'all did it. Y'all failed. Congratulations. Can't keep having Axio carry you or Sunstar carry you the entire time. Come on, guys. Come on. It was spicy. Why is it spicy? Anyway. All right, we need to go. We're going to the mines, kids. Is it gonna direct me? No, apparently it's fucking not. Climb! Climb! Nailed it. Not even close. Not even close. Okay, cave. Hello? 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 Jumping castle? Hello? Hello? Gudetama! What are you doing up here, buddy? Hello? 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 Through the purple door. Hello? Are you? No. Hello? Ooh. Hello? Shalom? Found a book. Something's down there. Whee! Uh-oh. Okay, that is actually not landable. Okay. Excuse me. Excuse me, please. There's entrance there. Chest there. It said mine carts earlier. Where are these mine carts? You. You look like something that's breakable. See you, chest. Blank books. Iron? Okay. Listen, I don't know what I can do with iron, but goddammit, I will find a way. Oh. Nothing. Where's the minecart? Show guide. Listen, are you just gonna take me right back to the... I'm pretty sure it's just... Oh, hello. I feel like this is just gonna take me right back to the ice cream boats. Because these guides are dumb. Yeah, just... All the cactus cream, all the cactus cream. Wait. Carnival server took all the minecarts for themselves? Apparently. I can't believe you've done this. Spooter. There's also a button there for some reason. Naked Gudetama. Ingots. Hi, Gudetama. You doing betting? Good lord. Risque today, aren't we? I see that comic book up there. Gimme. All right, maybe it's taking me to a specific cave? Oh, yeah, of course it is actually, in fact, a specific cave. Flooring? Uh-oh. Go for a minecart, right? Let's go. Oh, I have to hit. No, I have to hit. Okay. My hand's just up in the air. Whee! She go around yearns for the mines? Yes, apparently. So I think maybe we could have actually pulled that lever, but I could not tell what it was saying. Oh, am I going back around again? I think that was the exit right there. Maybe not.
Come on, let's step into the macabre halls of the Dark Carnival. And please, enjoy.
Eveling, thank you for the raid. Welcome in. How was your stream? What were you arting? What shenanigans were you up to? All right. Anything else of interest in here? Hello? 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 Wait. Hello? Hello? Wait, were these connected to each other? Oh my god, they were. Damn it, I'm an idiot. Yeah, now we're all the way back over here, right next to the fucking boots. Hello, boot. Anyway, I get to use the dessert machine. Chat, you know what that means, right? Gonna head out though. Have a good night, Thiefling. Thank you for hanging out. Raiden Run Day drew a little clown. A clown? I like clowns. All right. Refine the raw fizzy to make fizzy crystal. Maybe Choco Cat knows how to do it. Will you go ask him? Fuck. Wait, can I use the dessert machine now? No! I want to make weird ice creams. All right, we gotta go up here for the fast travel. Up, 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 up. All right, boats. Candy boat. Yeah, it is candy boat. All right, this is the closest one to him. Also, I see you, Rubber. Sticks. Plant. Doesn't count for anything, damn it. I don't... Alright, so you're just gonna tell me I need to make a machine, aren't you? Set up a crafting table in Gemstone Town where you'll be able to refine the fizzy ore. I'll meet you over there. Damn it. Okay. Gemstone Town. Have we even been to Gemstone Town? Not that way. Sir? Is that a mailbox over there? Wait a minute.
Step inside.
Oh, it is. There it is. Huh. What was that? Wait a second. Carlos, thank you for the follow. Welcome in. How are you doing? What trouble are you getting into? Gemstone Town. Okay. You, I do not like. You weird me out. All right, bud. Hold on. I need to give you presents. Oh, I already gave you presents. Duh, you gave me gifts, Mose. New crafting table. Take 6 fizzy rocks, make 1 fizzy crystal. Go ahead and try it. Jesus. Oh, water balloons. Interesting. Excellent. This is a big game for single players, is it? I don't know if I forget if it has multiplayer functions. Sparks. I can make an apple. Apple. Says for a quest, but I don't remember what quest it was. Oh, well, we'll come to it eventually. We good? Do we go all the way back to Purin? Wait. Mandatory view message. Thank you. Viewer ordained. Chim chimney, chim chimney, chim chim chiree. Anyway, were you wearing that when I left earlier? Okay. But now I can make tasty treats. Okay, what can I make? So, okay, it uses cactus cream. So, first things first. Always got to do the 50th anniversary. What have you done, Carrie? Oh, it just makes plain ice cream? Huh. Flour? Flour. Flour. Also regular ice cream. I don't think any of these are going to give me anything other than just regular ice cream. Tofu pudding. Okay, we got something. Almond gives regular ice cream. Oh, I totally missed what that was. Sweet pudding? Okay. Another sweet pudding. Strawberry ice cream? Strawberry ice cream. Chocolate ice cream? Hell yeah. Sweet pudding. Banana. Please tell me we get banana ice cream. Yes! Purple pudding. Pumpkin? Pumpkin ice cream? Or pudding? Pumpkin pudding? Coughing's the word my entire body hurts. I have cold shivers and I feel like a death smells like. Have you laid in the bath today? I recommend getting comfortable in the bath. Okay, so the milk gives regular pudding. All right, what does this egg give us? Old-fashioned ice cream. Nice. Wait, did I say magma pudding? Pineapple. Oh, pineapple doesn't give us pineapple ice cream? Oh, I'm sad. Okay, is there anything else? No? No, nothing else? Okay, fine. We'll give you a sweet treat, sir. Oh, he gives bananas? Pudding pants ability unlocked. What? Pudding pants? What does that mean? Okay. I was able to warn the pregnant one and she avoided me too? What? Oh. I see it. Dismissed at home. What? That's definitely not good. Now, is this something that started after you started doing work? You said it's like a really bad cough to the point where you threw up? Started Sunday morning? I'm just thinking, because whenever I started working at like the... It could have been something you picked up from being at the hospital, or it could be something else. If it becomes chronic, like you always leave work with a sore throat or something, I know some remedies, but just let me know if it continues. Nice, we got 2 bars of stamina now. Karopi, where is Karopi? Oh, literally right here. Come here. Actually, I want this first. Chinese. What are you doing over here? I'm just inside of him. Okay. Cold drink, bleh. Swampy soda recipe, snip, snip, spinip. Where do I make drinks? Peckle? Who's Peckle? Oh, Peckle's, of course, your Peckle. Okay. Sparkle. I need that sparkle. It's crucial. That one sparkle is the one that I need. Okay, does he have a drink shop? Is that what we're gonna find out? You is thirsty? I know, just think you should try. Ooh. Soda Sheen. Combine fizzy crystals with other ingredients. You'll get fizzy crystals from... Oh, no. Okay, we're gonna need to go get more fizzy crystals, kids. Give me that comic. Wait, where was the door? Is this another comic? Isn't it up here? Also, there's a floppy disk sticking out of there. Huh. How's Strim going? It's goofing. I did not mean to go back out. Alright. Alright, we gotta go get more fizzy crystals. Because I said so. Sand in my mushroom hat? What do you mean sand? Wait, where's the rest of them? Oh god, do I have to ride this whole thing until they respawn? No! No! He's put his hands up at the top. Whee! Seems like a giant fetch quest. You have to remember this game was made for children. This is first and foremost a children's game. Oh, I should have gone right. Damn it. Son of a bitch. You is the children? What the fuck are you on about? What the fuck did you call me? When did these reset? Also, don't question the mushroom hats. My mushroom hat. I like mushrooms. I'm trying to slide it. There we go. Fine, then at least we can get some. Okay, what is this camera doing? Yeah, I think this is gonna be all the ones that we can get in here. Meow. Yeah, that's all of them. Time to go out a different exit. Oh. Oh, hey. Calming crystals. Oh no, there's Geo crystals in this cave. Damn, if only I knew where I was. There's the purple door. That may be useful. No idea what the... Oh. What the heck? Huh. All the crystals. All the crystals. Okay, we're good. This should be the exit. Hello? Hello? Beetle. No, come back! No, come back! No! God damn it. That was a huge beetle. I wanted the beetle. I just forgot hitting the thing and just go sweep. All right. It's down here. Houses. We should buy some of these houses. Oh, hello. I see you, Gudetama. What are you doing there, bud? You're not looking very good. Oh, whoops. God damn it. Buddy, you okay? Okay. Go over here. Go up here. Wait, comic book. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Milk soda, sure, why not? Oh wait, we have to do the spin up. There it is. He does want one of the spin up ones. Apple soda. Chat, how many of you like apple soda? I fucking love apple soda, dude. Pineapple soda. You have been deceived. Today we are drinking this pineapple bigger. Oh no. VTuber's chatter is not immune to Dorito dust, therefore wrong? What? What? Strawberry soda is pretty good. Not going to lie. Speaking of strawberry soda. I like dim apple sodas. Listen. Listen. It's fine. Okay, we're out of fizzy things. Okay. Let's do... Hold on, where's the bench? Where's the bench? Only 3. Gosh darn it. Oh. Huh. Wait, coconut can make fabric? Okay. Material, aquatic material? Damn. Damn. Ghost costume. Wait, that's cute, but not right now. All right, Karubi, you're not allowed to die in the desert. Because I said so. Where is he? Karubi! I bring you soda. Wait. Does it matter which one? I thought I specifically wanted the blue one, but that's fine. I guess. I guess. So much faster internet in that bottom afterwards? What? Okay. Kuromi. Uh-oh. All right, hold on. There's fast travel up here. Okay. Spooky swamp. Back to the potion store. Yes. Up. 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 Oh, hello, mushrooms. Mushrooms are very important, chat, okay? Strange fountain. What could it be? It's a fountain. Question mark? Okay. Up. Okay. What potion shenanigans are you gonna make me do now, Kurumi? More potion cards. Actually saw Punchiko zip by here earlier. I think he might be carrying one of our potion cards. Why don't you try tracking him down? Okay. Also, can we make one? Mundane potion. Gosh darn it. I don't think the birthday potions are going to be anything. I bet they're going to be mundane. Yep. Flowers probably not going to be anything. Tofu. Speedy walking potion. You don't mind if I do? Speedy swimming potion. Deep diving potion. Another mundane potion. What does chocolate coin give us? Mundane potion. Damn it. Gosh darn it. It's okay. We're learning all the recipes. Thermal potion. Ah, darn it. Of course the milk wasn't going to give us anything interesting. Stamina recharge potion. Okay. Alright, how many of these can I drink at once? Height boost when using your balloons. Meow. Stop falling in the water. Give apple. Give lotus. It's cute, okay? Listen. More glowberries, because we just spent a whole bunch of them. Yes? Am I out? Did it expire? No! Anyway. Meow. 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 Yeah. Slowed by water. Meow. Bye, Choco Cat. Look at him go. Look at him scamper. I see you, Chucklefuck. Get back here. Where are you running? Why are you running? By the order of Kuromi. It's just ordained sprinting around. Correct. Wait, it's magic? Then I guess that makes sense. I never power walked this fast. Sounds awesome. Potion power, here I come. Yeah. Excellent. I wish it lasted a little bit longer. What's up here? Oh! Things I can buy. Ooh! I'll buy a wallpaper. Oh, whoops. Okay. Did not mean to do that, but oh yeah. Let's find more leaves. Where are the leaves? Also, there's so much things. Oh, what was that? Oh, there's a pineapple hiding in there. Oh, the oh, whoops. No. Okay. Meow. I guess this is what happens when you don't play for a long time, is just all of the resources just kind of pile up. I saw you up there. Okay. Guess we're going back to Coronis. Nope. I see you, comic book. What's up with all of these? Also, we've gotten so many comic books. Let's see if we can turn them in. This? Or am I just collecting them from him? Oh wait, I have these. Can I talk to you? Trick or treat. See, not once. I thought he wanted the comic books. Doesn't seem to be the case. Also, hold on, we're gonna change our outfit. The coveralls. Yes, excellent. Scamper, 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 scamper. Alright, so then we'll just teleport back. Where is... There it is. Right above me. Back to Spooky Schwamp. Let me turn... Wait, what was loud? Is the game loud? Are y'all fighting in chat? Are y'all having wizard battles in chat again? Wait, I haven't trick-or-treated her. Pumpkin? There's tons of pumpkins outside. Oh, I have to gift her. It made Pochiko super fast. Speedy walk. I already made those. I've already done it. What was it again? Oh, it was tofu. That's right. Ta-da! Oh. Huh. Excellent. Spooky bookcase. Ooh. Okay. Resurrects, reincarnates, respawns. Who knows? Oh, I have to go give it to Pachiko. Okay. I see. Okay. Alright, where are you, rat bastard? Hanging out in the plaza? Doing hood rat things over here. Yes, have your potion. Use it. Oh, okay. Alright, we're running all the way back. Meow. Meow. Karomi! Bang! Okay, I did the thing. Couldn't have been happier. Potion cards eventually will need to come back tomorrow. We can continue to locate other missing cards. Alright. So that's another daily thing. Oh, then we gotta go talk to my Melody. Okay. Ah. Why are we ing? What's the deal? What's the problem? In the door? Definitely. 100%. Fill out all these orders. Is running low on tofu. Running out of paper. Too many strips. Has never have too many strips of sugar count. So much to do, so little time to do it. Totally mind the store. I'll fill out the orders. Why didn't I think of that? Okay. How am I gonna be in the store? Off the orders in the queue. When customers come in, please fill out their orders. And remember, even the smallest gifts can create the biggest smiles. Okay. Okay. I'm coming. Am right behind you. Oh, just snaps into place. Okay. Am I doing this right? I feel like I could be doing something better with my time. Like improving the store. I could repaint the walls, maybe feng shui the furniture. Could set up new promotions for knickknacks. Maybe this isn't working. Let's try something else. You're supposed to be relaxing? Let's go. Should try relaxing on the beach. Okay, I guess we're going all the way to the beach. All the way. She also just teleported. Did anybody else notice that? That drink's sitting there for. All right. What a lovely spot. So nice and warm. Look at the cool water and the sparkling sand. Wait, are those shells? How pretty. Look at all the colors. Shells make amazing souvenirs. I gotta collect them all. Oh no, she's capitalism pilled. Maybe we should try, you know, swimming? Oh, sure. Give snail. Give snail. Alright. Water's cool. I love the colors of the tropical surf. It's so iridescent out here. I wish I had these colors in my store. You're talking about work again. I'm so sorry. Not sure why I keep thinking about work. Maybe I need a bigger distraction. That's me most of the time. I go out and I do something and I'm like, huh, chat would probably think this is funny. I'm chat pilled. I'm fucked up. I'm fucked up in the head, chat. Y'all ruined me. Is Boosh leaving? You're going to get dinner? Have a good time, Boosher. Boosher. Go get him, Boosh. Alright. Boosh. What's wrong, Rodine? Just on my way to explore the crystal caves. I could use the extra pair of eyes to find artifacts. The crystal caves? That sounds amazing. Any help you need, you can count on me. I can't wait. Wait, where's the crystal caves? Okay, where'd they go? All the way up here? Okay, that's where they're going. So yeah, going there is Meow. Doesn't seem usable. Whatever you say. Oh, chest. Rocky hologram crafting plans. Okay. Ooh, comic. That is a massive mining cart. Jesus. All right, what are y'all doing? Not working, right? Cave's beautiful. I've never seen anything like it. Oh, look, little crystals. I bet I could make something out of these. God damn it. You okay to take some of these? Affirmative. I don't see why you couldn't take some for a nice souvenir. Like these pieces here. What a nice specimen. All right, let's leave before it gets too dark. That's it. Okay. Thank you so much for that adventure, but I feel bad. I could only think about who would run the shop if I were gone. And I know you worked so hard to take me away from the store to create a relaxing environment for me. I'm so disappointed in myself. Wait just a second there, my Melody. You shouldn't be disappointed in yourself. It's obvious you're passionate about your store. Just like I'm passionate about archaeology and exploring the wonders of the island. When you're passionate about your job, it never feels like work. Perhaps my Melody is truly relaxed in her store. But what's your dream job? I don't dream of labor. Just enjoying your time on the island in your own way. Have a good night, Prey. Thank you for hanging out. Spider-Man, here this ring lady's pretty cool, and so is this sheep go rounds. Embrace capitalism, my Melody. No, Short! Short, no! Come by the shop would have the most wonderful stories about their time on the island. I'm sorry for making you do this, Miss Ma'am. No, I completely understand. I'm just trying to help. I really appreciate that. Doesn't like streams? What do you mean? Good night, Ordained. Sleep well. It's okay. We're gonna only do a little bit more of this anyway. All right. Oh. For an epic. Wait. Why does it sound? Why does it look like you have a mission? I don't think they arrived. What's missing? Might have noticed that shipping to Big Adventure Park is. Could have said it better. Usually, everything I order for a small gift, big smile takes a little extra time, which is fine, but it usually gets here eventually. And I'm missing some furniture. And even if I account for how remote we are, it's been a long wait. I think it's time to see if our friends have seen anything. Maybe they were delivered to Tuxedo Sam by mistake. Wait, Chinese. Yes, excellent. I got you this time, you rat bastard. Yoink. You don't need fall damage where we're going. All right. Just behind the rock? It's fine. It's fine. Butt shots. That is going to be it. We're going to call it here. It is almost 4 o'clock. And my room is fucking sweltering for some reason. Jesus. Okay, for some reason the game struggled to close itself. That was weird. That was really weird. All right. Scammed not even 2 hours of sheep. You'll be fine. Do you want more? Do you want more later? Do you want more next week? And I'm just gonna go put, sorry, sheep, you gotta go in the trash bin. At least until chat's gone. It's just until chat's gone. Don't you yell at me. Don't you yell at me. Is that a Nodders? The bunny Nodders? Oh, God. Okay, we'll think about it. We'll see what we're doing next week. We'll see how we feel after we start the next VTM playthrough this week and see if I even want to continue it or if I want to wait for further updates of the game. But, we need to find somebody to raid. Who do we have? Laura's doing her 2-year streamiversary. Who is Vanilla Beans? Let me see. Who is anybody doing anything spooky? Escape from Duckov? What is Duckov? Oh, good Lord. Nobody's really jumping out at me. God damn. What is going on? I think we're just gonna raid Cammy. Yeah, we'll raid Cammy. I don't think I've ever raided Cammy. Alright. Camazil. Of course that. Did I spell that right? Okay. All right, chat. I'll see you tomorrow. We're going to be starting a new campaign in VTM Bloodlines 2. We're going to be starting as a Tremere, where we're going to murder everyone. Because fuck them. We're going to be the prince. But until then, guys, thank you for being here. Thank you for being awesome. Thank you for putting up with the charity shenanigans and anything going forward. And my complaining that we do every hour at the beginning of stream. And we will be doing tomorrow because I like complaining. It's fun. Because things can always be better. Therefore, things can always be griped about. Princes of the Universe. Ooh. Played Star Wars. Which Star Wars? Oh, Star Wars The Old Republic? Yeah. I love the MMO. But until next time, guys, thank you for being here. Thank you for being awesome. Thank you for enjoying the show. Go have fun with Cammy, with the crazy lady that wears a straitjacket. Have fun while she tries to figure out what the fuck a human is, apparently.